Hello everyone, welcome to the Joking Dolphin Gaming Pod. I'm Mark and as always I'm joined by Matthew
Morning.
and Nathan.
Happy Buddy Day, everyone.
Yes, it's Buddy Day indeed. Look, Egg. I mean,
All prepared. Love it.
people on the podcast won't have any idea what I'm pointing at, but you know, that's for them to
He pointed
guess.
at a golden egg. Well, there's no guesswork anymore. I've just told everybody.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
I've got my enchanted eggs.
Why are they enchanted? What's different?
Basically, all I can tell is that they're basically mini eggs with no shell, painted gold. I think that's what they are.
Sounds enchanted enough to me.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You had any eggs yet?
I started gorging
No,
last
I'm not
night.
eating any yet.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet you.
I've had 3 eggs so far. Not very good to say I'm diabetic.
3?
But, you know, 3.
What, just today?
No, yesterday. Well, I've had 4, I think now. Actually, I'd 1 on Friday, 3 yesterday. Yeah, that's 4. Yeah.
So
And I've got another one today.
right. Moving on.
Lucky boy.
Okay, shall we kick on with the news then?
Let's do it.
Who wants to
Go on.
start us off? Someone give me something.
Well, I want to tell you some concerning news, personally, for me.
Go on.
So, Sony's confirmed that it's going to be closing the PS3, PSP, and Vita digital stores this summer. Now, this kind of falls into one of the reasons why I like to get physical games, because they can never take them away from me. So basically, what Sony have come out and said is that the PS3 store is going to be closing on the 2nd of July, and the PSP as well, both on those dates. And the Vita is going to be closing on the 27th of August. So if anyone's bought any games on those platforms, digital only, I suggest that you get them downloaded and quick. Now, for me, this just strengthens my argument about buying physical games, because I feel that if you buy something, you should always be able to have access to it because you've spent that money. But yeah, I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on this, but I just think it's crap.
Well, I'm more advocate for physical like you, Nathan. But I've sort of embraced it because that's just the way the world is going at the moment. Or if I'm like really desperate to get a game, because it'll take ages just to get it delivered. But I'm like you, I want physical. But I know you embrace it a bit more, don't you, Matt? The digital age.
Yeah. Well, a big reason of why I embrace it is the whole being able to still share kind of account games. So I did it, I think before doing that, I was quite very much kind of you guys. I'm like, I want the physical stuff, but being able to share games with another account, especially like with my brother, has kind of opened me up to like the digital argument, I suppose. But I mean, this news is it just kind of gives another, I suppose, strong point for Microsoft, doesn't it? Embracing the whole backwards compatibility, going through the whole, being able to play your Xbox One, your Xbox 360, your original Xbox games, and your Xbox Series X. Be able to keep that legacy going. I don't know why Sony doesn't embrace that kind of idea. Like, I would love to have original PlayStation 1 games on my PS5, be able to go back to like old classics and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know what it is with Sony and looking backwards and kind of keeping legacy intact and stuff. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, I think they've tried to do it somewhat with PS Now, but it's just not on the extent of the way that Game Pass works or the way that Xbox has taken that on, of being able to play your original Xbox games right through to your present day games that get released. Now, I think in them doing that, it does have something to do with them not releasing too many games for the Series X, so they need to have that like back library in order to keep you interested in buying that console. But I do think it's a really good thing that they've done, and one thing that I do want to see them continue doing. So just further on this, there's going to be over 2,000 digital-only games that are going to be gone once this comes through. So, I mean, I don't know if in this, is there going to be some backlash and is Sony going to actually do something about it to give us access to these games somehow. Are they going to potentially put these into PS Now and make it a real contender to the Game Pass, which is what I think they should do. Because the PlayStation Now service, it's more of a, oh, we've got this as well, not this is the thing, like what Xbox are doing. Everything's Game Pass. I struggled to get just an Xbox Live Gold membership because everything was just Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass. And I think that's the way that Sony should really do it. They should kind of roll it into the PS Plus and charge you a little bit more. Because if I was charging an extra 20 quid a year, maybe, I'd probably give it a go. If they made the offering a bit better.
I don't know about 20 quid more. It's already like what? It's 50. Is it 50 a year for?
Yeah, something like that.
I've seen deals where you can pick it up for, well, where you can pick PS Now up for about £30.
But they should do what I think. What, like you said, they need to do what Microsoft doing, like integrate it into their system. Like we saw last year the backlash that Microsoft got about thinking of putting up the prices of Xbox Live Gold and Ultimate, and thankfully they did a U-turn. But I just don't know why. Well, yeah. It's a bit of a strange one. Like even Nintendo through the Nintendo Switch Online, you've got access to some of the old Nintendo and Super Nintendo games, and I'm sure down the line we're going to see N64 and GameCube coming. So it just baffles me. Sony for the most part last generation did so well in kind of bringing people to their platform and how good they were with their messaging and that, while Xbox was screwing up. But like as we kind of come towards the end of that cycle coming into this one, it's like they've done like a role reversal. Like suddenly Xbox is like the good guys now, and Sony just seemed to be the greedy company that just wants your money and destroys their whole legacy with it. But I mean, I hope they do something with the PS Now, like you're saying. Like hopefully it's just they're taking that the digital front's down because they're actually putting it into PS Plus or PS Now, and it all will be good again. But just a strange decision.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand the need for going forward, and like taking these things down eventually, but it does, because there's nowhere else to get these games or to re-download them if you paid for them. That's the thing that just doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah,
because in the past, like I've bought games on like the Wii store and the Wii U store that I won't be able to access, and it's just having to buy them games again, which is just a bit rubbish.
I've also heard that developers weren't even warned about this.
Were they not?
No.
Yeah, there's one developer who was currently developing a game for the Vita and didn't know about it until this news came out, and now he's like, well, I've got to stop development because the Vita is going to be nothing.
Yeah.
But there was one developer who actually purchased a Vita development kit from Sony just last month.
Oh no.
Oh.
And then this has happened.
Oh.
Surely Sony must have known by that point they were making this decision.
Yeah, you've got to think.
So that's a bit.
You get a refund.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it's it's the future marching on, isn't it? It doesn't surprise me. I mean, these got to close at some point, haven't they?
Yeah, but it's just rubbish. I don't like it.
It is. I'm still with you in terms of the whole physical thing. It wouldn't be an issue if we were still. But I mean, to be perfectly honest, I never don't think I really bought anything digitally on PS3, so it don't really affect me that much. But because that was the sort of the beginning, really, of the whole purchasing digitally thing, wasn't it? Really. But so I guess a lot of people might have done, but I didn't. But it's going to be sad for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got, just thinking about it now, I've got the original Crash Bandicoot games, the original Spyro trilogy, and a few other things that I've got on there, like Minecraft, funnily enough. So I'll make sure to get them downloaded. And all the PS Plus Vita games that I that I got. So I need to just make sure I've got all of them downloaded onto a memory card somewhere, just so I can access them.
I think Sony seem to have this thing where they've actually released the older games, but just like as new. It's like you can get the PS2 GTA trilogy. You can buy them on PS4. You could buy them on PS3, but you have to buy them all separately. There's no like service like Game Pass or anything like that. So yeah, perhaps Sony should look into that.
Perhaps so.
It's like I don't even really know what PS Now is really. I've never paid any attention to it. That's the thing. Because it just looks like you're interested.
Yeah, it's similar to Game Pass. There's a selection of PS4, PS3. I think there's even like some PS2 games, but
yeah, I think it came out when all this streaming got quite big. With like Stadia. Well, before Stadia, and this was kind of like their offering.
I like how you say streaming got big with the Stadia.
I mean, like with all these companies coming out, like trying to do the streaming services, like Amazon and Google, and that was where I was going. Not the Stadia's big; it's dead. But I just think that's their streaming offering with these bunch of games that you can get and stream via their servers.
Yeah. Should we move on to some other bad news?
Yay!
We'll get the bad news out of the way first.
Happy Easter, everyone!
Yeah.
Loot boxes. We have to return to the story of loot boxes. So, new research suggests that loot boxes is linked to the problem in gambling. I mean, to be honest, we probably already knew that.
Yeah.
Well, this is a BBC report. It says the link between gaming loot boxes and problem gambling has been robustly verified, according to a new report. The report, carried out by researchers at the Universities of Plymouth and Wolverhampton, found that loot boxes are structurally and psychologically akin to gambling. It also found that large numbers of children are opening loot boxes. The UK government is already considering whether gambling laws should cover such loot boxes. The new research, commissioned by the Gamble Aware charity, compiles existing research to examine the strength of links between the in-game random prizes and gambling behaviour. It found, of the 93% of children who play video games, up to 40% opened loot boxes. That's quite a large margin. About 5% of gamers generate half the entire revenue from the boxes.
Wow. So the people that are into it are really invested into that.
Really
or
spending.
Their mum and dad's credit card are invested into that.
Well, saying that means then that quite majority of gamers then actually don't use the loot boxes, but the 5% that do absolutely do use them. Something like that. Is that what it's saying, basically?
Well, it says half the entire. Well, no, 5% generate half.
Oh, 5% do the half. So basically,
so the other 95% do the other half.
That 5%'s got to be like Twitch
children
streamers
with credit cards. That's what it is.
And and kids, I suppose.
12 out of 13 studies on the topic have established unambiguous connections to problem gambling behaviour. Young men are the most likely to use loot boxes, with young age and lower education correlating with increased uses. So,
gosh,
have either of you actually been grasped into? I mean, I know we're talking about Ultimate Team.
Yeah.
Is that the closest you've got to being brought into these loot boxes things, or have you ever dabbled elsewhere?
For me, that's the closest I've been. Like buying coins to get packs on Ultimate Team and that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I did that kind of stuff. But I never went like overboard with my money. Like if I could spend it, then I did. But
you were mindful of it.
Yeah, I was mindful of how much I was spending, which admittedly was even then probably a little bit too much than what I was doing. But it wasn't like to the point where I ended up like I have to go into my overdraft to get some coins.
That's it. I just want to get Manuel Neuer.
I just need Neymar. I need my Nick Pope.
I'm glad I've never been caught in that, to be honest. The big spenders, the crucial 5% of the industry, can spend more than £70 or $100 a month on the boxes, the report said. But those are not necessarily wealthy people who earn lots of money.
No, I can imagine.
You mean spending £70 a month? You could buy a game for that.
Oh yeah. If you're savvy, you could even get two.
Imagine it. Yeah, I can imagine it.
I understand how people do it, because if that's the one game that you play and you want to be like the best at it, and you've got like a group of friends that do the same, I can understand how it all like flows.
Yeah, that's why I'm feeling I don't have a group of friends to play together with.
So
that's probably why I actually really got into it, because there was always like a group of us, maybe like 5 or 6 on Xbox.
Oh, here we go. Show off. He's got all friends.
Friends. Sorry, Mr. Antisocial. Like it would always be like almost like a competition of like, oh, who's got a better player, or like who's got like who's got like the highest grossing team or something, or who can get, it'd mostly be around like when Team of the Year players started coming out. It'd be like a big competition there of like, oh, we need to get like, I need Team of the Year Aguero or something, or like I remember getting quite a few. Like I got Team of the Year Alexandro Pato one year.
What happened to him?
Yeah, well,
Wonder
his
kid.
career, yeah. It was amazing though. Absolutely, like pace was like unreal. But anyway, and I remember one year I got Neuer, and I think the following year I ended up getting like Sergio Ramos. But it was always kind of like we try as like a competition sort of thing. And I think that's kind of where the mindset of if I just spend a little, just a little bit more, oh, I didn't quite get what I want, maybe just a little bit more, and that's where it starts becoming spiraling like really badly. Of just, I just need one more pack, and I'll get that player that I want that's going to complete my team or something. But I always got like a good team, and then I never like even played the game. It was just I just wanted a good team. Yeah, I just need my Hazard and Aguero and De Gea and stuff, just to show off.
Just so you could screenshot it and put it on Twitter. That's all.
Exactly, yeah. Put it on Instagram. Look who I packed.
But I think from what Matt said, it all seems to be about status and where you are in the hierarchy. Like if you've got that group of friends and one friend gets something good, that other friend will spend like maybe 20 quid and try and get something to better him. It reminds me of when we were back at school. Like, I'm nerdy now, but I was nerdy at school. And me and my group of friends, we used to use Gamerscore as like the point, like, oh, I've got 10,000, you've only got 9, you're dirt to me. It was literally like that. Like whoever had the best gamer score out of our friends were like the top dog. Don't know why, but it was just a way that we could measure ourselves against each other in like gaming. Yeah, that's it. That's what it's all about.
I was at the highest out of my group, so I don't need to flex too much.
Anyway. GambleAware's chief Zoe Osmond said the charity was increasingly concerned that gambling is now part of everyday life for children and young people. It is now for politicians to review this research, as well as the evidence of other organisations, and decide what legislative and regulatory changes are needed to address these concerns, she said. Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about this long enough. Something needs to be done.
Yeah,
need to bleeding hurry up about it.
Well, I think it should just be a lockdown to people that are 18 or over. If it's classed as gambling, then
how do you get around that though? If, you could just have parents buy it for kids. Then what? Like, how do you?
Well, that's been happening since the dawn of time. Well, I say the dawn of time. Like in 2004, my mum got me San Andreas GTA, and I was at the time. How old would I have been? 12, 13. So you're always going to have that, but I think they need to be seen to be doing something and put like a block in place to stop this from happening.
Yeah, they need some sort of like age verification of some sort. Like, I don't know whether it's like you need ID maybe associated to your account.
No. The problem is that we need to get rid of these things, not find ways so people don't spend the money. We need to stop them to begin with.
Oh, come on,
the
government aren't going to do that, are they?
That's what it is. That's what needs to be done.
They're not going to reverse on it.
They're not going to reverse. Come on.
They got too much money
for countries, so.
No. Don't make much money for our country. Anyway.
Hey, you should see me and Matt in our heyday buying them FIFA packs.
Pumping that money into the government.
Should we talk about Cyberpunk?
Oh, go on then.
Apparently, there's been a leak of the DLC.
What?
Well, I don't mean the DLC is released. I mean
a leak about the
DLC. Of what the DLC will be, of how it will work. So apparently, it was listed on the Epic Game Store for a period of time. So it looks like there's going to be 10 free DLCs and 3 paid expansion DLCs.
Okay.
They think. Well, to be honest, if they're any substantial like the Witcher 3 ones, then fair enough.
Oh, well, yeah, fair enough. They do pretty good DLC, I'll give them that.
Now, they did have names attached to them, but CD Projekt have commented that the names were not correct, but didn't confirm whether it was true or false.
The content.
Yeah, for the actual. So, I'm inclined to believe it's probably true, but so we'll see how that goes. I mean, I've not even started the game. I'm going to wait for that upgrade expansion, which, God, it's going to be something like November probably. So it could be a while. But
yeah.
I'm looking forward to playing that game. I know we've gone on like about all these issues and all that, but I'm looking forward to playing it.
Yeah.
Because I did enjoy that few hours I had when I first got it, and then stopped. So I didn't have the experience ruined me with all the bugs.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, you could probably go back because they recently launched a pretty big was it a 1.2 patch?
Yeah, apparently that's fixed a lot of bugs.
Yeah,
but
could be stable now.
The thing is, I'm gonna wait for the PS5. I mean, I could just buy it on Xbox, but I think I'm gonna wait. Well, didn't they also announce that they're canning the multiplayer? They was going to do a separate multiplayer thing.
So, I think from what I read, it wasn't necessarily that they'd canned it, because apparently it was going to be standalone.
Yeah.
But now I think they're looking at a way to integrate their online, like in Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
So it could just be that suddenly one day you start playing, then suddenly there's another bee, and there's several bees running around suddenly.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be kind of cool. It'd be a surprise. Like, suddenly Cyberpunk is now multiplayer.
I think one thing they could do to make it quite interesting would be no headset support, and you would just converse like you do within the game, like with like a tree of things you can say to people, and see how the conversation evolves. That'd be pretty cool.
Should have been just gestures.
Yeah, that'd just be gestures. Jesters.
This bee's peeing on the floor.
Gestures. Yeah. You start doing like the. Anyway.
I mean, I think. Well, I think this is positive. Like that they are going forward with the DLC, and they're talking about the multiplayer because it means they are. Well, they're trying to get it to where it needs to be. It's not as if after all this they've given up, because I'd like to thought that some companies wouldn't, but I do think some companies would have just like thrown the towel in and said, right, that's it basically. The game is the game, and due to all the bad press and the management issues, the board issues and everything, we're just going to say, right, that's it, done. But it's good that they've come over this adversity and that they're trying to make it better, and hopefully in the coming months it'll be where we all wanted it to be last year.
Well, speaking of some adversity that some companies come under, Square Enix and Marvel's Avengers.
Talking about companies that should throw the towel in. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was I think it was revealed. I don't know if it was in the current when they were doing the whole roadmap stuff. But there's news that came out that they were going to be adding in some Marvel Cinematic Universe inspired outfits for most of the Avengers, which sounds really cool. Until you figure out that I think was it like a spokesperson or something had to come out and clarify the outfits you could only get them on the marketplace for the game, and you had to purchase credits for them.
Yeah, they originally said that they were going to be part of a future event reward.
Yeah, that was it.
And then, obviously, that's not happened. And then they come out saying they'll only be available on the marketplace for purchase with premium currency, which is about $14 each.
Blood and sand.
$14 just look like.
I mean, if things couldn't get any more
Jones.
worse for this game, I don't know what they're thinking.
You'd think they'd want to claw back as much goodwill as possible, and at least give you one of your choice to get you kicked off or something. Or do the event like they said originally.
Just do some sort of like in-game event to be able to earn them. Why do I need to purchase them?
Yeah, and the reception to the Hawkeye DLC was met with, it's nobody really.
A
lot of people said that was like less than under 2 hours. Not much to it. Basically, Hawkeye and Kate Bishop are the same character and that kind of thing. It's just.
Oh, they're both.
It's not going anywhere, is it? Kill it. Just kill the game.
Kill it with fire.
I mean, what the next hero that I believe they're releasing is Black Panther, but that's going to be like towards the end of this roadmap. Like, if they don't release someone else in between, what is there to play? I want to reinstall it and give it a go on PS5. I want to see how it would look, so long as it actually runs and doesn't crash my game like it did last time. But
I think it's probably got to be the least exciting AAA game I think I've ever seen, to be quite honest.
Big talk.
Well, they're saying that
between that and probably Anthem.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah.
Anthem was a bit of a dire launch.
The model of it from the very beginning. As soon as I played that beta, it's just like you've destroyed my interest in this straight away.
It is unfortunate because I will stick by that. I just think the story campaign is pretty good. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed Camilla Khan. I think she was a really good character. I think the whole story was pretty good. It's just kind of everything outside of that has really just poisoned the chalice of.
But does the story play like a looter kind of thing? Because that's what I don't like about these sorts of games. I hate the looter aspects of games. I just really have no interest in it.
You don't really have to focus on the looting. I mean, you do the upgrades kind of stuff. So like, you do a couple of missions, and then you might do a training mission for the new hero that you just unlocked. So you get kind of a grips to how they, navigate, work, what their powers are and stuff, and then you kind of go into the next mission. The missions are kind of just a bit same, kind of point A to point B, do a wave of enemies, get to point C, do another wave of enemies, and then it's kind of like that. It's a bit like Doom, but without cool music.
Without cool music, right?
Yeah. But it's a shame. I think people really look forward to like an Avengers game. This is kind of what we've got.
Yeah, it's just I can't believe that you've got the biggest franchise on the planet at the moment.
Yeah.
And you release such a half-arsed game.
It's
the epitome of a cash grab, in all sense of the word.
Yeah.
It's just as soon as they got the license for Marvel, it's like, oh, how can we make the most money from this? Rather than actually going from an artistic perspective and doing something decent with it. They could have gone the way of like the Arkham games, which would have been incredible. But no, you had to get these live service nonsense, which I'm sick of the sight of. Kill them all. Sorry if you like them, but I just can't get along with them.
Any more brighter news, maybe, for once?
Brighter news? Yeah, I'll give you one. Ghost of Tsushima is going to have a film. Which I'm looking forward to.
Not surprised. Yeah.
I mean, a while ago, I said that I'd like to see a film of it. So it's going to be made by Sony Pictures, and it'll be directed by Chad Stahelski, who helmed the John Wick films. Which, that's pretty decent, because John Wick films are cool.
Ooh, they're cool, but it's a bit of a different style, isn't it, to what you'd expect for Ghost of Tsushima? Oh, yeah,
Well, there's going to be action in it, isn't there?
There's
Yeah, that's
action,
it,
but
yeah.
like John Wick's like absolutely just like
Well,
action
all right.
piece, action
Let's
piece,
not
action
tie
piece.
his entire career with just John Wick, though.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I'm not saying
I'm
that.
sure-
But
I'm
I'm
sure
saying
he'll- I'm
when
sure
you
he'll be
said
able to
John
make
Wick,
it.
but
I'm sure he'll make a good stab at it.
yeah.
Good one.
Thank you. I've only got one other piece of news,
Oh no.
and that's Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. Can't even say it. The Skywalker Saga has been delayed with no further release date announced. Which is a
Yeah.
shame, but perhaps not unexpected.
No. Is this like the second or third time it's been delayed now?
No,
times.
I think this is first one. I think.
No, it's been delayed twice. It got
Has it?
delayed into spring of this year.
Oh,
Because I think
well,
it was meant to come out last year, I think.
to be honest, I don't mind. It's just make it right.
I don't mind when games get delayed, just so long as they give them the time and polish it needs to be to make it good.
I've said it before. The backlog is ever growing. Take your time with the
Yeah.
games.
It
It's
never
fine.
ends. Yeah.
Speaking of things getting delayed, Resident Evil again. The reboot movie has been delayed by 2 months. So it was originally coming out in September. It now has a release date of the 24th of November.
Did they give it a reason for that?
I didn't look too far into the reason. Could very be just maybe it's congestion or delay as far as you can so you can get as many people coming in. Hopefully.
Well, I think it might be that. Is it going to have a cinema release?
Yeah. Well, films that are coming out recently now, like Godzilla vs. Kong has a cinema release. Sorry, made over 100 million. No, is it 100 million? Yes, made over $100 million worldwide, which isn't great, but
I mean,
given the circumstances, it's pretty good.
Well, not as far as I know, we can't go to the cinema yet.
No, but places like I think China, New Zealand, Australia, those places are kind of doing well for themselves. So,
hopefully we'll be there soon. I think the last film that I went to go and see was Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, mine was the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, before the first lockdown, that was.
Yeah.
I've been once when we reopened slightly.
Yeah.
That was a while
ago. Just continued the news a little bit. An official title was given for the Resident Evil film. So it'll be now known as Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City.
Welcome to Raccoon City.
The place where people want to be.
It kind of got that reaction.
That sounds very
online.
TV movie-ish.
Yeah, it kind of got that line. It kind of got that reception. It was like, do they really need to say that? It could just be Resident Evil. We kind of know what it's about, Don't think it needed the subtitle, but there we go. I suppose it's to try and differentiate from the Paul.
Well, maybe they're looking to do a longer series, so they'll need to put like a sub name to it so they can continue it.
Resident Evil.
Well, let's
return to Raccoon City.
Right to return to Raccoon City. That'll probably be the
Welcome
next
to Raccoon City. Go away from Raccoon City, within Raccoon City.
To be fair, if they did do a second film, I can imagine them doing it based off the third game, which was still in Raccoon City, but it was all about the Nemesis. So,
Raccoon City and the Last Crusade.
Dear.
No, Leon Kennedy in the Last Crusade. There we go.
Leon Kennedy in the Last Crusade. That was Resident Evil 4.
So, I want to talk about the PS Plus and Xbox Gold games for April. So, from the 6th of April, the release of this podcast, we're going to have on the PlayStation Days Gone, Zombie Army 4 Dead War, and Oddworld Soulstorm for the PS5, which I'm really looking forward to. I've not played Days Gone, but I've heard nothing but good things about that game. And I actually bought it and I've not even unwrapped it yet. I feel devastated that we're going to be getting it for free. And I spent £18 on it.
Is it Days Gone By or is it just Days Gone?
Days Gone. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, really looking forward to Oddworld. So if anyone has got a PS4 now that is going to get a PS5 in the future, just make sure you get that downloaded, just so you've got it ready.
Take some notes, Mark.
Oh, trust me, I'm already on it.
Good stuff. And then in regards to the games with gold for April, now after I read these games, I was a little bit, these seem a bit rubbish. And it does seem to be like generally, when I've gone on Twitter, people have said this is the worst lineup of gold games ever. So prepare yourself. So right out now, we've got Dark Void and Vikings Wolves of Midgard. And then from the 16th of April, there's one game in particular out of these two that I really want to play. Can you guess which one? So we've got Hard Corps Uprising and then Truck Racing Championship. I can't wait for Truck Racing Championship.
Yeah, give me some of that truck racing. Yeah.
That's it. That's what it's all about. But yeah, when these games were released, it had a lot of backlash and people like questioning the PS Gold structure and what they get offered as part of that package.
Yeah, but Xbox Gold.
Xbox Gold, sorry, yeah.
So,
well, you can see what they're doing, can't you?
Well, that's it. They're trying to push
read
you
between the
into
lines.
Game Pass, yeah. That's it.
It's quite obvious that's what they're doing. It's like, here, we'll give you the worst games you could possibly imagine on live, and then but look at all these on Game Pass. Yay.
That's it. For an extra few quid a month.
Don't like it. Because let's be honest, PS Plus has been doing really well. The games they've been releasing recently.
Definitely with the PS Plus collection that they brought out, if you transition to PS5, you get a host of fantastic games for free as part of that as well, which is good. And with the play at home stuff that they've done, like giving everybody free games, that's fantastic.
That's good, yeah.
Some really good games in there, like Horizon Zero Dawn, Subnautica, a game that I quite like, and a few other ones in there that are really good.
Yeah, out of that Xbox Live Gold list, I've actually played Hard Corps Uprising. I wouldn't sleep on that game. I actually thought it was a pretty good game itself.
What's it all
about? So it's a 2D side scroll, a bit like how can I say it? A bit like Metal Slug, if you've ever played Metal Slug. So kind of, you kind of go across the screen and it's all about kind of shooting all the enemies, kind of getting power-ups going through and stuff. But it's got like a futuristic anime aesthetic to it. Mm-hmm. So I was immediately interested.
Drawn to it. Yeah.
Anything anime, I'm like, ooh, this is pretty good. But it's pretty good. It is a little difficult because those games can be quite difficult. You got to like really
put time into to master them properly.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was pretty good. If people want to look it up, it's I thought it was pretty decent. Everything else I've not heard of. No, Dark Void sounded familiar actually. Is that the one where I think you've got like you kind of like a mercenary guy with jetpack, but the big kind of gimmick was that you could fight vertically on like sands and stuff. So you use like vertical cover and stuff. It looked pretty good when I first saw it, but once the reviews came in, I was like, okay, maybe bargain bin buy.
Yeah, it's cracking on that game now. It came out in 2010, and it uses Unreal Engine 3, so it might control in a bit of a dated way, but yeah, it looks a bit bland for me looking at this.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll definitely give Hard Corps Uprising a go on your suggestion, because I do like the Metal Slug games. They are really difficult, but I do enjoy that kind of game every now and again. So yeah, I'll let you know how I'll get on.
Cool. Sort of bringing it around to my favorite topic that I always talk about. There was recent footage. There was recent footage shown by IGN of Resident Evil Village being shown running on a PlayStation 4 Pro. And so far it looked pretty good. Like it still looked quite smooth. Everything was pretty detailed. Not as like detailed as the demo that they've got for the PS5, which I still need to download. I need to try that at some point. Everything it does look pretty good. The big news that kind of came from that footage though was that they played the cutscene that we've seen of Ethan, who's kind of outside Lady Dimitrescu's window when she's on that phone call. But like at the bottom right, there was a button prompt for like skip or for photo mode. So basically they're saying, hey, look, here's photo mode in Resident Evil Village. Which everyone's already kind of taken it out of context of like, oh, right, people just use photo mode for
spying on ladies through the window. Yeah.
Spy on ladies through the window. Or go into the room and spy on other assets. Which is interesting. But it would be pretty cool to have like, I think it's like the first Resident Evil game that's gonna have like a photo mode, which I think would be pretty cool. In context, obviously. I love photo modes. I really actually enjoy photo modes in games now. Like I love them in Spider-Man games. I abuse it in Spider-Man.
I like them, but do you also find that it ends up interrupting your gameplay? Because you keep stopping and taking photos. I found that I do that a lot of times.
A little bit, yeah, because you'll see something beautiful and you'll want to capture it. So it does kind of break the gameplay up a bit.
It does a bit, yeah.
I think that's testament to how good games are now, that they'll make you stop and look and think, this is amazing, I want to capture this.
Yeah.
It's feeding into the whole selfie era though, isn't it? Oh, I'm going to take a photo because I'm someplace nice.
Jin with his selfie stick.
Yeah. Just pokes it on the end of his sword.
Just whips it out.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
I can imagine that like he's just gutted someone and he's just like taking a selfie over the shoulder of the guy.
Yeah.
That's the last game that I really got into
lens.
with photo mode.
Have that Mongol scum.
I mean, yeah, I like them, but part of me is just like, I need to stop using it because it's just it's breaking up the game too much. There's no fluidity anymore.
I think it depends on where you use it though, because like a lot of the times, if I use it in Spider-Man, it's that like I'll be in the middle of like just swinging in the sea and I've like seen something cool. And it's like, I'll just pause that and like Miles or Pete Parker's just on like a funny pose. And,
yeah, but there's ones in like it's like things like where you might be in the middle of a boss fight and then something's just like, oh, I'm gonna take a photo.
Well, you don't have to.
I know.
All right, if you're thinking about taking photos in the middle of boss fights, it's too easy. You need to turn the difficulty up.
That reminds me of a Game Grumps episode where they were trying to they were playing Wind Waker HD and you can do like selfies with the camera. And we were like trying to take photos of like Link doing a funny face while like Ganondorf's trying to slice him in half. It's kind of funny. But it's a nice addition. I think it's one of the better additions that have come along in gaming over the last few years. Like, if there's one that I kind of miss that I think I'm sure Halo and like some Call of Duty do every so often is like a theater mode where it records like the games that you've played, so you can go back and kind of review, say like what you've done, or like if something funny or cool happened, you can go back and then you have a free camera so you can follow your cross-map tomahawk that's bounced off 5 walls and killed someone somehow. I wish more multiplayer games had that kind of feature because I always loved them, especially in Halo.
Oh yeah,
a random sticky throw that's like hit a grav lift that's like gone up and caught someone on the way up or something.
Do you know what?
There's
Funnily
always
enough,
there.
I've got that exact video on my 360 recorded. It's
I think
amazing.
I've got probably the same one on 360 as well. There's just more games need to embrace stuff like that, like be able to be more creative and I suppose that's the only word that everyone uses, creative.
Yeah. Give you them kind of options.
Give you that option. You got any more news? Because I've got a bit that I can just quickly run off. Got a bit of quick news.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's do some quickie news.
So one quick one. Rocket League have announced a spin-off game for mobile platforms called Sideswipe. This can be releasing later this year. I think it's going into like an alpha/beta in Australia and New Zealand, I think. But that's gonna be like a 2.5D. I don't know best. Have you ever played those like header games where you gotta like head a ball and head it into like the other's goal, but it's like on a 2D plane?
Yeah.
It's something like that, but Rocket League style. You can have 1v1 or 2v2, and yeah, it's releasing later this year. I'm sure I'll download it because it looks pretty fun.
So is it like a direct 2.5D Rocket League where two of you can play?
Yeah.
Is it like two cars? Yeah.
Yeah, so you can do 1v1 or 2v2. The controls look a little more flowy than real or actual Rocket League, but it's been made from the ground up to be more for mobile platforms. So, looks good, looks fun. I'm sure I'll try it. The only thing that I got because Lego Star Wars got stolen from me was Back for Blood has also been delayed. So the spiritual Left 4 Dead successor has been delayed now till the 12th of October.
Boo! I want it.
It looks good. I watched people do like the bear version of it, and it just looks like classic Left 4 Dead, just absolute frantic chaos, and what more could you want?
Yeah, definitely.
And hacking off limbs, that's always the fun bit.
I just love all the random contraptions you can make. It's Left 4 Dead and like Dead Rising. They're like the two like zombie games that I just so much enjoy. Just because the craziness of it is great.
Right, shall we move on to the BAFTA Game Awards?
Let's do it. Yeah. Let's find out how badly we've really done in our.
Oh god, this is terrible.
Okay, so I'll just run through the winners. So first we had animation. That was won by The Last of Us Part 2. Artistic achievement
1 point
was Hades. Audio achievement was Ghost of Tsushima. Best game Hades. British game Sackboy, A Big Adventure. Debut game Carrion. Evolving game Sea of Thieves. It's a bit of a surprise, I thought. Family Sackboy, A Big Adventure. Game design Hades. Game Beyond Entertainment. Animal Crossing New Horizons, which I didn't expect.
Ooh.
I could see why, because there was a game that came out at a time when I think we all needed that kind of game.
Yeah,
so it kind of went beyond that kind of. I can see why you got it, but I was surprised that. Tell me why I didn't get it.
Multiplayer, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Music, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. Yep. Narrative, Hades. Original property, Kentucky Route Zero TV edition. I know you liked that one, Nate.
Yeah.
Performer in a leading role was Laura Bailey, as Abby in Last of Us Part 2. Performer in a supporting role was Logan Cunningham in Hades. Technical achievement, Dreams. And finally, EE Game of the Year was The Last of Us Part 2.
Ah.
So, that brings us down to our predictions. So, two people got 4. The other person got 5. So here's a winner. And the winner was, drum roll. It was Mathew.
Wait!
Wow. I'm shocked. I didn't think I'd won that at all.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, we all had a bit of a mare in that.
Yeah. We don't know games as well as we thought we did.
See, I was kicking myself because for best game, I actually originally had it down as Hades because I thought well, since playing it, I've been kind of swung over by it. Like, yeah, I can see why it's getting as many accolades as it's get. But then at the last minute, I was like, no, I'll go back to what I went for in the Game Awards because, well, I assumed again, Last of Us were just going to walk away with like all the accolades again, but apparently BAFTAs were a bit more forgiving to lesser games. I suppose that's a bit harsh. It's not
they're not lesser games; they're champions.
Clearly.
Last of Us 2 is the lesser game.
They didn't get caught up in the hype, should we say, of the Last of Us train. So I was thrilled for Hades. I was absolutely over the moon with all the stuff that it won. Narrative, I could see why they won it, and I've had a thought about since the winners came out. I've had a thought about if The Last of Us Part 2 was in there, I still think Hades would have won because narratively it's more structured better than what Last of Us Part 2 was. And there could be an argument there, but a lot of people
yes,
did
there
have...
could be an argument there.
You're a
There's
hater.
an argument, but there was grievances about the whole time switching characters. Some people didn't get on board with it, so... Whereas I think a lot of people praised
uncultured swines, that's what they are.
Well, you guys just need to play, the best game in the world, Hades, so...
I've got it on order. It's going to be here soon. And then I'll tell you my thoughts.
Give me your thoughts, your impressions. Come on, Mark, buy Switch, get it. You just get it on PC.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't have to have it on Switch, do you?
No. Switch is the only physical place where you can buy it, so that's why I've got it on Switch. Well, getting it on Switch.
I'm sure it'll eventually come to the consoles. I'm sure.
Well, it's popularity.
They'll port it over, yeah.
But, yeah.
Well done, Matt. You get to choose the Hall of Fame game for the next podcast.
Oh, God. Gonna have to think on that one. I'm not going to announce it, but I'll have a think.
Hades.
Yeah. Let's do Hades.
Right, so shall we move on to what we currently play?
Yup.
Yeah, sure.
Shall I kick us off?
Yeah, go on. You kick us off.
Okay. So, because I recently got the Series X, and I actually started this before the last podcast, but I already had enough to talk about then, and I'd really not got far into it. I thought, right, I've got to pick a good game on my backlog for the Xbox, which has been sitting there for a while. I thought, how can I truly get into the new generation? So I thought, right, I'll go something quite big, and I started playing. Well, I've completed it now, but it was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Wow.
So this game is set 5 years after the Jedi Purge, the whole execute Order 66 stuff. And you play Cal Kestis, I think his name is. And he works as a scrapyard worker on a planet called Bracca. And he ends up revealing himself to be a Jedi when he helps save his friend from an accident. And because of that, he ends up being chased by the Empire. Because obviously he's revealed himself to be a Jedi. And there's someone particularly called the Second Sister who's after him. And as he escapes from this planet, he meets up with a former Jedi called Sia, that's it.
Yeah.
And a pilot called Grease. I have to say, I love Grease. I think he's amazing.
He's a good character, yeah. He's a good character.
I think in the whole Star Wars plot
universe.
Yeah, universe. I think he's one of my favorite characters, obviously.
Oh, nice.
And then, with the help of his trusty robot sidekick BD-1, another great character, Cal makes it his mission to discover an artifact called the Astrium, which could be the key to rebuilding the Jedi Order. Now, this is a bit of a roller coaster when I started playing this, because when you start it, it felt very Uncharted-like. In terms of it's kind of quite linear. You're doing a lot of climbing and that kind of thing. And then you meet these people I've just mentioned, and then the game suddenly changes completely when you land on this planet called Bogano with them, and it becomes very sort of like semi-open world. And I don't.
Yeah, it sort of opens up a little bit, doesn't it?
I don't like making this comparison because it's very cliche to make this comparison now. But this game started trying to be Dark Souls, didn't it? This game.
It absolutely starts becoming like the Dark Souls of Star Wars.
And my interest was dipping then because I thought, is this really what I want from a Star Wars game?
What you really, really want?
Yeah. Because it's like you've got like certain different pathways to go down.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of links with Dark Souls. So obviously it's like that, the way it's structured in that terms.
Yeah, it's like it's a mixture of like Dark Souls and what people would call like a Metroidvania kind of game, where like there's certain paths that are locked to you until you have like the ability to be able to unlock it. So they've got that instance, and I suppose Dark Souls is pretty much also that as well.
Yes, because then you obviously got the combat. It's quite similar in terms of it's
The
locking on
combat's-
the parrying and that kind of thing.
Parry, blocking.
You open up shortcuts as you're going along, so it makes it easy to go. So so
like
when you
Dark Souls.
so when you first arrive there, you got to go the long way around, and then suddenly you can open up shortcuts. I'd say I do get lost in some of the levels quite a bit. It's like return to your ship. It's like, which way do I go to go back to my ship?
I got lost quite a bit, and I've not gone through as much as you. I was like, which way? What?
Yeah, I mean, you have to like proper zoom in and out on the map and that kind of thing. I do quite like the map though. The map is quite useful. What I liked on the map is that it told you what you could go down and what you couldn't. That's what I like.
Yeah, that's
what power it let you know if you had the power to be able to get down that route.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to traipse there first to discover you couldn't.
Yeah.
Which would have been a real pain.
Mm.
And then another Dark Souls thing is the meditation circles, which is basically like the bonfires.
The bonfires. Yeah.
And then if you choose to rest there, the enemies respawn, which is very Dark Souls.
Very Dark Souls. Yeah.
But yeah, when I first was going around that first planet, Bogano, I thought, I don't know if I'm going to like this.
Mm.
And then I read that there was an upgrade you could get quite early if you went to a specific planet before you were supposed to normally.
Okay.
So I went to this planet of Dathomir. Dathomir, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And it's apparently you're supposed to go there quite a bit further on, so it's quite a difficult place to be.
Yeah.
But I managed to get around it.
Yeah.
So I managed to get around it, and I got to the specific part, and it was the upgrade I found was a double-bladed lightsaber.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Darth Maul style.
Yeah, I went proper Darth Maul in level one when I got it. It's just like once I picked that up, the game completely changed for me. It was like I am the badass of the galaxy.
Oh, damn.
I really started to really love the game after that. So I'm really glad I went to find that. Yeah, what I also kind of like is like the way it slowly unveils the upgrades to you. So you don't start the game with all your powers.
No.
So you're just like you're pretty lame with your lightsaber to begin with.
Yeah, I think how they explain it is that you've like you've put like a mental block on your powers.
You've repressed your memories of the things you learned.
So I think this is how they try and explain like the meditation stuff. You're doing it to try and unlock each part of the force that you've kind of blocked away, but it's still there. You still access. I like how they've done that.
Because it was like certain parts of the level where I was just like, I could see that thing up there. That because there's these crates everywhere, isn't there? These boxes where you can pick up stuff and that. But the real treasures were the yellow boxes with the stim canisters in.
Mm.
So you can
for the health.
So it's like so you get an extra like low health stim that you can look at, and it's just like I can spot the box there. It's just like there's no way I could get to it yet. So I've got to try and make a mental note to remember where that was and on what planet. But it's just such a really great game. I really enjoyed that. The more it went on, the more I enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
And I'm sort of staggered it came from EA, to be honest. It's just like, how did they allow Respawn to do this? Because big props to Respawn.
It was Respawn, wasn't it?
Yeah, Respawn.
Yeah.
Really good.
Very solid. I think they're working on the second one at the moment.
I hope so.
Mm.
I mean, and I'm not going to go into any specifics, but towards the end, a certain thing happens, and it's like, oh, yeah, great.
Oh, really? Oh, I need to get back to it.
Have you not completed it? I thought you completed it.
No, I didn't complete it. How far did I get? I've got to the point where I think you fight the second sister for like the first time. I forget what it is, but I think you're blocked by like I think you're initially blocked by a large fan or something like that, and that's where she. Is it a fan or is it just a door? It could be.
There's a bit with a red laser door.
I think it's
That's
that.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and you end up fighting her. I found that fight absolutely difficult. I was really struggling, but I've got a single lightsaber.
Well,
I
go and get
the
it, mate. Go
upgrade.
and get this double one.
Can't all be like Mark,
I'm just
can we?
like,
Slashing
just
things
calm
to
down,
bits.
calm down. I just need to go back to this planet. I'll come back for you later.
You wait here, have some lunch.
Just wait there.
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Yeah, I didn't get that upgrade. I didn't realize you could get it so early, but
Yeah, I read it quite a while ago before I even got the game. So I thought, right, if I get this and I start playing it, I've got to go and do that as soon as possible.
Well, there's a certain planet that I don't really want to go to all that much. So.
What's that? Is it?
Is it Kashyyyk?
Kashyyyk.
Kashyyyk.
The Wookiees.
The home of the Wookiees.
Yeah.
And other various stuff. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but they're not. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Now that I think about it.
They're not. They're okay once I'm actually fighting them. It's kind of the triggering them that caught me off.
Yeah, they would sort of just pop out.
It's there's one room that's like a bit of like a puzzle room, but like at the bottom there's like something covered in, we'll say, webs, and you're like, I obviously need that, but is this gonna trigger something?
Let me
as
go
soon
have
as,
a closer
as soon
look.
as it hit, it was just like boom on top of you. Like, oh, okay, this is great.
Well, I like it when you like you see these, but then like the stormtroopers are in battles with them. I quite like that.
Yeah, that's fun. I just let stormtroopers.
Yeah, so I just stand there, just watch it.
You got the flamethrower that I would like, but you know.
Just get the popcorn out. Who's going to be the victor here?
Take screenshots.
Yeah, get that photo mode out.
How did it look on Series X? Did you see like an increase?
I never played it on the other one, so I don't know bits. But it had an improved frame rate, so I put it on performance mode, which made it run a lot smoother. And I don't think the graphical quality took a hit to it, so that's why I played them.
It's a bit same.
It's really good. Played really well.
Yeah, it's a bit same like Miles Morales. I played my first playthrough on performance mode, and I didn't really see much in the difference of like graphics. It just still looked pretty good to me.
But yeah, I was really surprised how much I enjoyed that.
Oh, good.
It took me quite a while though. It's quite a lengthy game.
It is, yeah. Dark Souls is a lengthy game, so if you just compare that, good. I'll have to reinstall it and get it going again.
That's all I've been playing. So what about you, Nathan? What have you been playing?
Yeah, so I've been getting into my PS5 games. So I was cracking into them.
Another show.
Yep. Sorry about this, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
So the first game that I played was Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. So this game,
never heard of it,
is absolutely magnifique. It's a worthy successor to the original Spider-Man game on the PS4, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Good.
Now, one thing that you two might not like me for is that I only played it for about 6.5 hours. I just blasted through the main bit of the game, and that was it. I didn't do hardly any of the side missions.
That's fine.
Well, I presume you can go back and do them.
Yeah, you can do them afterwards. Yeah. There's like a new game plus you can do afterwards where you can unlock different suits and things. But yeah, I'm mainly focused on the story, which I thought was really good. So I don't want to give smacking my mic. I don't want to give too much away in terms of story because I know that you'll definitely be wanting to play this, Mark.
Yep.
But I think the story really did a good job in introducing us more to Miles and kind of more about him and his family. And early on, I think Matt touched on this. His web slinging wasn't quite that good. You could see him flailing around and all that kind of stuff. But like as he came into his own, as you move through the game, he kind of developed his own style, which is really cool. Yeah, I thought it was really good. And towards the end of the game, they do set it up for the third one, which kind of tails off what you saw at the end of the first game. So it's kind of, you had Peter's story, now you've had Miles's story, and now I think they're going to work together in terms of the next game that they're going to be coming out with, hopefully soon. But yeah, I mean, if you've played the first one, you'll definitely want to play this one. It's a great continuation. Like, if you love swinging through the city, if you love the combat, you'll definitely enjoy this.
Without going too deep into spoilerish things, does the city feel any different?
It feels a little bit more.
Because I'm just wondering, is it just like they've just plonked
Miles into the same? It does. The city does have a different feeling to it. It feels like there's more of like an urban feel to the city for me. There's like more robberies and stuff going on, which happens like sporadically, just swinging. Okay. I found that. I don't know about you, Matt.
Yeah, so I think the one thing that they've done well improving in this version compared to the first game is so like each area of the city still has their kind of own thing to complete, you know, a checklist sort of thing. So you know how like in the first game there would be like this area has like 5 different crime activities to do to complete it, and then you had like a hideout to do and whatnot. In this one, there's less focus on the crime aspect to it, but like they're more varied and more at random. So it's not just like, oh, you swing into this area, you've done all the crime activities, so you don't need to. There's not going to be no crime in this area basically anymore. And then you swing into another area. Oh, there's suddenly crime in this area. Now it's like crime's actually happening everywhere at random. So it feels more like actually how it would be in real life, I suppose, a little bit more realistic, and not just you've cleaned crime in this area, it's all good.
Yeah. The one thing that I did like about it is that basically they developed this app that you could access to see who needed your help, basically. And you had in this app, you've got like a list of tasks you can do to help people. And I think one of the first ones I did was basically the shopkeeper had his store broken into and he lost his cat. And funnily enough, his cat was called Spider-Man. So you're there just shouting for Spider-Man, this cat, which was quite funny. But yeah, I think that was quite cool as well, because you can basically go down a list of all these like missions, see which one gives you like the most points, and basically select one and then go and do it, basically. So I thought that was a nice addition as well.
Points? What do you mean points?
So like points so that you can like purchase new suits and things.
Ah, right. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, like, powers and all that kind of stuff.
There's a little play on the first game's memoirs. So you know, like you went around as Peter Parker, you'd find all your backpacks that you've left around because you suddenly need to change to be Spider-Man. But there's always like a memoir in them from like Parker's past, I suppose. It's a little same here for Miles. They've done like a similar version, more closely tied to like his story, which is a nice little touch. I liked that aspect from the first game.
Was that the like time capsule stuff? Or was that different?
It could be similar, yeah, like time capsule stuff. But I'll not say like who it relates to other than just it being Miles, because there is a bit of a story element to it. But it's quite nice. And they've got the challenges back as well. So you know there's like combat challenges, traversal ones, and stealth ones. They've kind of come back in this as well.
There was one of the additional challenges that I didn't really like, but I know that you did like it, Matt. This was where you had to like find sounds within the city to like try and like make music kind of thing. So you had to like scan and listen for certain sounds that would make music, and I didn't really get on board with that. I thought it was quite boring personally, because I'm just all about the combat and getting through the story side of it.
You just don't like puzzles, do you? Let's be honest.
Oh, I love puzzles. We'll get onto that in a few minutes.
Oh. Well, don't
Yeah.
say any more because there is a bit of a story again to it. Why you're doing it? So. But you'll find out once you start playing it. But once you get PS5. Sorry.
All right. Then it's gonna rub it in.
It's gonna be like this until you get one.
Really good game, and I'm sure if anyone's got a PS5, buy it. For those who are going to get a PS5, buy it.
I mean, I could get the PS4 version.
Oh, get the PS4, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll get the PS4.
I'm not gonna, but I could.
Could go for the inferior version if you wanted. But hey ho. I'm sure it'll be good, whichever one. To be honest, like in terms of like graphically, I didn't see too much difference personally when comparing Spider-Man Miles Morales to the original on the PS4 Pro. I didn't see that much of an upgrade.
I did once add the performance mode on the graphical stuff, like seeing reflections in like puddles and stuff, and in the
puddles again.
in the glass. Yeah, puddles again.
This is what you pay your 450 quid for, people.
Yeah. No, but it was really impressive. I was really, because there's a part where you go through like a Christmas kind of fair sort of thing.
Yeah, I thought
it's
that
all
was
kind
like
of
a
lit
really
up
nice
with
bit.
like neon lights and stuff, but the snow's melted in places. You start seeing the reflection. That it's really good.
Again, without going into spoilerish, is the Christmas thing just like a small part of it, or is that the whole thing set around Christmas?
It's mostly set around Christmas. It's in like the winter time, but I don't think
it's not pivotal to the story at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't like Arkham Origins where like the story was basically it's all about on Christmas Day, was it? Or something like that.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, so yeah, I've completed that, the main story. Really enjoyed it. So yeah, if anyone's not played that yet, I'd highly advise to play it. So the next thing, after I completed Spider-Man, I started playing another PS5 game called Immortals Fenyx Rising. So going into this, didn't really know what to expect because I'd not read up on it at all. It's just one of the games that I got with my PS5. But starting to play it, I'm pleasantly surprised. Now, I did read up a bit after I started playing it and I got into it. And one person did call it the B-Tech Breath of the Wild, and that made me laugh. But it's a bit different. I mean, I know I mentioned that it's the Breath of the Wild that we all need on multi-platform, but going further into it, it's quite a bit different. I mean, it does have a lot of similarities, like the art style is pretty similar. And to be honest, quite a few of the story aspects have parallels with Breath of the Wild. But just to give it like a bit of background about the story. So you plays Phoenix. So he's like this mortal. And there's this like
Is
evil
he rising?
person. Sorry?
Is he rising?
He's rising. And he's basically this guy called Typhon has like defeated the Greek gods of mythology, and it's your job to kind of like rescue them and bring them back to their old power, so that you and the gods can defeat Typhon together. It's quite, some of the dialogue's quite funny. So basically, there's Prometheus and Zeus, and they're like the narrators basically telling Phoenix's story as you're playing it. And they've got some pretty funny dialogue because if you don't know about Prometheus, basically, he gave humans fire, and like every day, an eagle rips through his belly and eats his insides as like a punishment that Zeus gave him. And basically, Prometheus and Zeus have got a wager. So if Phoenix can rescue the gods and defeat Typhon, then Zeus will basically call it quits and release Prometheus from where he is. And some of the dialogue's hilarious that they've got between them. And quite close to the nose for the type of game that I thought it was, which is quite funny. But yeah, just to get into some of the gameplay. So it's basically, early on in the game, you get quite a few of the mechanics that you're going to use as you go through. So you'll get like a sword and like an axe, hammer that you can like use for your smaller attacks and your more heavy attacks. And then you'll get an arrow, so a bow and arrow that you can use for long range.
You're just gonna get an arrow. You just have an arrow. You throw it.
Yeah, just an arrow. That's it.
Don't need the bow.
And you get these like arm like what are they called?
Gauntlets.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And basically with that you can like control and levitate things, and that helps with like more of the puzzly stuff. So basically, as you go through the world, you find these like areas where you can do like dungeons and like solve puzzles. And for every puzzle you solve, you get a bit of Zeus's lightning. And like using that lightning, you can use that to like power your character up. So there is like a skill tree thing. So as you go through the world, you like collect flowers to do like alchemy and make potions and stuff. You collect jewels and gems to like forge weapon upgrades. You get weapon upgrades for like traversing the world and like finding chests and things. But like the main bit of the story is that you've got to find the gods. So there's 4 of them to find. Then once you've found them, they'll send you on tasks to do so that you can basically get them back to their former glory and power. So far, I've done Aphrodite, and I'm on my way to try and find my next god. So basically, in the world, there's like 4 massive statues, and you've got to get to the top of them. And then once you get on the top of them, you'll be able to find that god, because they've been turned into random things like trees and stuff. So they're difficult to find. Okay. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I mean, in terms of the combat, it's really simple. I mean, you'll either just use your sword to slash through things. For bigger enemies, you might need to use a bit more in terms of tactics. So for example, if it's like a giant, you'll hide behind a tree, and then you'll use your bow and arrow to kind of like hit in the eye a few times, wear it down while it's trying to throw rocks and trees at you. And then eventually you'll be able to like go a bit closer in and kill it. But yeah, the thing that I like most about it is the dungeons. So all the little puzzles that you get to do in the game, really enjoy them. But yeah, I'm going through that now. I'm only about 7 hours in, and I do know it's probably around a 30-hour game, but yeah, I'm sure I'll get through in the next couple of weeks or so. But yeah, really enjoying that one so far. And then the last game that I've been playing a bit is called The Witness. So this is a puzzle game that I think it was on one of the free games that you could download as part of like the PS Plus.
Yeah, the Play at Home.
Yeah. So I started playing that. I've done 86 of the puzzles so far. So I'm getting on fairly well with it. But I just really enjoy like the grid-based puzzles and like trying to figure out like where you need to go in the grid to like complete it, because some of them do have you scratching your head a bit.
Oh yeah,
as to what you need to do. So
it's a very relaxing game.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's one of the things that I like about it. I think it was Wednesday this week. Like Lisa came home from work about 10 hours playing it, and then at one point we just took it in turns and did like a puzzle each, and then we were like helping each other on them, and it was quite nice. Just a bit of a change of pace, like from playing something like FIFA that's like a bit can get a bit stressful. yeah, that's the right way. Way of it.
Because it was one game that I was really looking forward. I was following like its production before it got released, because I was really keen for it. And like this was a board. It's just like I really loved that game, but I did struggle later on. So I probably only got about halfway into it, and then it's just like some of the puzzles were just too much for me. Yeah. I just remember I used to have the notepad and pen, just like making a note, just like, because it's sort of like an incremental thing, isn't it? So like each puzzle's got like 5 or 6 elements maybe or something like that.
Yeah.
And like you've got to learn the rule of that puzzle. And it's just like if I went back to doing that now, I would completely forget the rule set for each puzzle. It's just like I'm gonna have to start it again.
Yeah, it's like, for example, some of them like towards maybe an hour in, I'd say, you had to like kind of remember the puzzle opposite to it and do it in the opposite way, because you got your like pointer to the end, because basically in the game you got to like draw a line to get to the finish line, and sometimes you've got to like incorporate dots before you get to the finish line to get them all. But other ones it's like you've got to look external to the puzzle. So for example, there's one where you've got to look at these trees to find where the apple is, and then you'll be able to from that guide the pointer to the end of where the apple is. But if you fail on one, it kind of resets it, so you've got to go back to the last one, do that to get to the next one, and stuff like that. But yeah, I think some of them can be quite difficult, and you're thinking like, how the heck am I supposed to know that? But it's just like trying what you can, and some of it is a case of like looking around you just to see if there's any clue at all, because some of them you think, how the heck am I going to solve this? Because earlier on in the game I got stuck, and then I went for a little wander around, and I got to these puzzles, and I'm like, I've not got a cat in hell's chance of solving this one. So I kind of went back to like the starting area, and eventually I did get through the bit that I was stuck on. And I love the point where as you're going through, and you kind of, because you've got to solve puzzles to like power certain things to unlock other puzzles to open doors, which I think is really cool. And it's kind of addictive because you want to see where it goes. And there's one point where you open like I think it's like the bottom of this windmill or something, and you're kind of going down this cavern, and you're like, oh, where's this going to go? And you just get so invested in it, and it's just so exciting because it's not really the game's more about the puzzles than it is the area, even though the area is beautiful in its own way with its art style. It just everything just pops so well. But it's just exciting when you can solve a puzzle to open a door, and then that leads on to something else. You're like, oh, what's going to happen next? But yeah, really enjoying that so far. Nothing's got me too stuck yet, but watch this space. We'll see what happens. So yeah, they're the main 3 games that I've been playing. Enjoyed every one of them thoroughly. And yeah, looking forward to playing more. So yeah. What about you, Matt?
Me? So I'll list this one off quick because I mean it is something that you've already played. So as you mentioned that you played it earlier in the week, I decided to reinstall it because my interest peaked again. So I've been going through The Witness as well. I think I without going into it too far, I'd probably repeat most of kind of what you said. It's got a real nice like childlike curiosity about it, like doing all these line puzzles and then like kind of going to certain places. Oh, there's set puzzles here that seems unlinked to everything else. I'll try these and yeah, I can only compliment like the art style is really beautiful. I think it's a really nice art style. But I don't know if I've got as far as you. I think I'm probably around like the 80 mark as well. And I just got to the point where I've gone down this cavern and ended up like I think it's roughly the middle of the map. I might be wrong, but kind of it's like a little town kind of area, village that I'm in. I have absolutely no idea what to do in there at the moment, so I might have to backtrack and like see what else there is. But I was a bit surprised about you get to a point where I think you open a door and like a video starts playing of what was it for the it's the BBC, was it like an A's show or something like yesterday, today, tomorrow or something like that?
I've not seen that yet.
Have you not seen it?
No.
Oh wow! So I've done some bits that you haven't, and you've probably done some bits that I haven't. Because the apples one as well, the tree with the apples. I'd finished it going to the final area, but I don't know what to do in that final area. Like I'm like, there must be something else, otherwise.
Are you on
why
the
would
last
I need
tree?
to be in here? No, I'd finished the last tree.
You finished
you
it?
open.
So you've opened the gate to the other side, and you've gone through that, and you've
some,
seen the
like,
drawings and stuff.
The heart and stuff. I'm like, this must mean I must need to be able to do something else here. Like I've got no idea. Like there must be something about it that I need to do. But
I've read that as just being the end of it, and you like getting that nice bit of where you can see this person's drawings. I don't know. That's the way I read that bit of the game. Like, you've completed that segment, and this is your reward. You can see these drawings of hearts and stuff.
Yeah. Maybe
Nah,
it's just
there'll
that
be more to it than that.
I feel like there should be more to it because there was like I did. Have you done one of the unlocked one of the lasers that starts shooting towards the
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did that and like got the trophy for us. I'm like, this must be something else. Like I must need to do something else to get a trophy or something. But anyway, that's kind of the weirdness out of the way. I suppose to go over again another game that I talked about last week was Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. So I'm pretty sure last episode, I'd completed the story. I think I'd gone that far, and now I was doing the extra stuff. And now I've done all that extra stuff, and I got my platinum trophy.
Woo!
So just like the first game, I was like, I'm going to play this completely to death, and I'm going to get that platinum trophy because I love this game so much. And Spider-Man's like my favorite hero anyway. So got that. Didn't take me as long as I thought it was going to take. You don't, again, like the first one, you don't necessarily have to do everything complete. So like a lot of the like combat challenges or stealth and stuff, you don't have to get like the perfect. I think is that the ultimate rank. There's like ultimate, spectacular, and amazing. And you don't have to get the ultimate one, like the full 3 stars to complete everything, which is good. So yeah, I finished that, got the platinum trophy, uninstalled it, and then they announced they were doing a new update, and here's like a new suit, and I'm like, now you make me feel like I need to reinstall it and try this new suit out. And
I don't think it takes that long to install though.
No, it's not a big game. They've added something called I think it was muscle deformation. So about there's more realistic looking muscles on Miles now, or like how there's more of a slender build to him, but still defined muscles on some of the suits or something, which sounded cool. I'm also kind of tempted to get the remastered version of the first game because I didn't complete all the DLC. And apparently your save game comes over, so I'm like,
can you buy that separately? I thought you could only buy it as part of like the Ultimate Edition of Miles.
You can upgrade your version to, I think it's like 20 quid or something. You can get the remastered version.
That's not bad.
Plus, there's all the new suits that I never tried, like the Tobey Maguire suit and the Andrew Garfield one. I'm sure they were pretty cool. Meow.
Hello, Austin. What are your thoughts on Spider-Man?
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. So that's Miles Morales complete, done, good. A new game that I started playing, and I've completely finished and platinumed, was Astrobot's Playroom.
Ooh. Well, you platinumed it, but bar that, what did you think of it? I really enjoyed it.
I was pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed it as a platformer. It's really solid. I just love how nostalgic it can make me feel for like PlayStation and stuff. Just like, so there's like 4 kind of, I suppose, world areas that are kind of dedicated to each kind of generation of PlayStation. So there was one for PlayStation, one for PlayStation 2, one for PlayStation 3, one for PlayStation 4. And kind of throughout each kind of the 4 levels in these worlds are dotted all the different Astrobots that sort of reenacts kind of a scene from like I suppose a game that made PlayStation famous or big, I suppose. So there's stuff like there's one for Heavy Rain, where there's like, and you'll know it's like it's meant to be something from a game because there's one bot that's like the cameraman filming the scene or something. So if you ever like see him, that's like, oh, this is probably from like a different game franchise or something. There's one with like Heavy Rain where like there's a guy just outside in the rain, and then like there's a shelter as well. Like I don't know what that that links to in the game. Never played Heavy Rain, but I'm assuming it's some part of the game. Or maybe like
no.
no. Maybe the emphasis was because in the level it's actually raining, so maybe that was just kind of the whole. Oh, it's raining.
What generation was this?
Would have been
PlayStation
PS3, wouldn't it?
That doesn't sound like anything in Heavy Rain. I know it sounds like it is, but
I'm not quite sure what it was. I'm not sure why there was a shelter or anything. I just knew there's actually a trophy for hiding in the shelter from the rain, so you get a trophy for it.
Fair enough.
And there's other ones. There's
There was like Lara
there's-
Croft stuff and Crash
there's Lara
Bandicoot.
Croft.
And
There's Aloy from Horizon who's like shooting down stuff with a bow and arrow. There's a nice little Resident Evil one with like one character's playing Chris, the other one Jill, and Chris is like opening this door to look at like a zombie who's just kind of stood there, and he gets like all frightened and stuff, and like closes the door and like shakes his head at Jill like I'm not going in through that door, which is really cute. So, but the actual game is really nice. Gameplay wise, really smooth. Love the controls.
yeah, I think it's a really good introduction to the DualSense control.
Yeah, it's like it's the perfect game for the DualSense, because like everywhere you walk, you kind of like feel the footsteps, and like the feeling will be different depending on like what surface you're on. So like if you're on a metal surface, if it feels like it's hard to explain it without going through it. Yeah, it's just nice how like the feedback feels different if you're like suddenly you're on ice in your skin or you're in like wet sand or something. It's really good though, like perfect game to really explore the full potentials for DualSense. So yeah, I couldn't recommend that game enough. So I played that. I moved back over to Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Oh, have you finished it yet?
Finished it, platinumed it.
Back
I
in the pile.
went on like a platinum spree the last 2 weeks. I was just like, I'm gonna platinum I've made like a mission to try and at least complete as much as I can from the game. I'm not
I
gonna
feel
platinum
so
everything.
inadequate. I've not even got a platinum.
this is Matthew. I'm not a trophy whore, and yet here he is with 3 platinums.
Look, right? That was last year. This year is like the new me.
This year's even worse, by the sounds of it.
Look, last year I only platinum technically 1 game, but there's 3 games in 1 collection, right? So, and now I've already played platinum 3 different games. This is good. So yeah, got that finished. Started doing the DLC from it. So like the first DLC is based off the film Battle of the Gods. So when like you unlock the Super Saiyan gods form, and you're suddenly incredibly more powerful now, and that was pretty cool. I liked how it implemented that into the game. And then the second DLC is off the second film that came out, which was
Resurrection F.
Resurrection F, yeah. So like, long story short, Frieza gets resurrected, has a new form. You need to get a form beyond Super Saiyan God, which is not confusing at all.
I refuse to call it this name.
I really hate it. It's silly. So the Super Saiyan God, and then in this film you unlock Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. So it's being a Super Saiyan with the power of a Super Saiyan God. I don't know why they didn't just call it like Saiyan God or something.
Well,
It's
in
really
the
silly.
in the anime, they just call it Super Saiyan Blue now.
Well, now they do, because like Weezer's like, I think we should come up with like a band name, because like SSGSS sounds too long. So instead of being red, you're now blue. It's anime. It just gets wild. So
That's it. They've got to have as many transformations as possible so they can sell all them toys and trading cards.
GT was more simple, but we can go on we can make an anime podcast at some point.
No, we
We'll
can't.
leave it at that. Well, Mark, maybe not. Maybe
I've not
just me.
understood the past 5 minutes of words that have just come out of your mouth.
That's okay. So finish that, and some of the fights with Vegeta, the fights with Frieza as your Vegeta, and at some point as Goku were actually really difficult. They do start becoming really challenging, so I'll give it that. I've pretty much done everything from the game, other than there's one more DLC that's coming out later this year. So I'll wait for that and start that.
What's the DLC? Do you know what it is?
It's based on the
Is the Tournament of Power? Oh,
no,
is
it's
it
based on the
timeline?
future timeline with Trunks.
Oh, the Zamasu arc and Goku Black. Well, but he's not black.
I don't know, because like they've not gone into super territory yet. It's just kind of the films, and then I think this is just separate for just Trunks.
Oh, right, okay.
So it could just be like an
So
explanation.
is it kind of like a prequel to what happened?
Well, it's actually based on Trunks's training by Gohan to defeat Android 17 and 18.
Oh no, they can't do that.
Well, they can, because
I
they've never explored that part.
There was a filler episode when the androids ganged up on Gohan when he had one arm, and it was devastating. I cried. I can't do this again.
So
terrible.
Terrible, yeah. Just terrible that pants and androids. So yeah, good wait for that to come out, and I'll go through that then. The only other the final game I should say that I've started playing or coming back to,
Platinumed already,
and not platinumed. Although I think I would like to, because I've really enjoyed it, is Horizon Zero Dawn. So I decided after I'd finished Dragon Ball, I was like, right, what's like the next kind of single player game that I've started? I did enjoy it, but I kind of stopped for whatever reason. I'd like to go back to it and now finish it. And that was kind of the next game on my list, where it's made me regret my decision in the PlayStation exclusives that I made.
Ooh.
Because now I've finally gone through it and I'm getting towards the end. I'm like, actually, I think I'm really enjoying this a lot more than I did Uncharted 4. As much as I think Uncharted 4 story-wise is still better, I didn't really give enough credit for this game's story and where it's gone. And I've actually really enjoyed like discovering the world that like Aloy's in. And like finding all the different tribes, where they've come, what's their motives in the game, and really kind of what happened to civilization to get to this point in Horizon, I suppose. And finally figure out what does Zero Dawn mean. But that's spoilers, so I won't say much on that. But it's just a really beautiful game to look at. Like I still feel like on an art graphic kind of point, I feel like it's the best looking PlayStation 4 game, easy. In an art direction. I don't mean.
I think it's up there.
Shut up, Mr. Last of Us 2.
I was going to say Ghost of Tsushima.
You've not set out, but you shaked your head. So, and you can make an argument for Ghost of Tsushima, but I can't make that argument because I've not played it yet. So, that's on another list of the big backlog. But just like everything about it, like gameplay wise, so good. I think the thing that I did the first time around, I didn't utilize a lot of kind of the weapon system of the game. I didn't really mix it up a lot outside of just kind of using the default kind of bow and arrows and the fire arrows and stuff and that. But having then now come back and gone all the different weapons and like figuring out all their uses and whatnot, it's actually like a lot of fun just being able to just take down a Thunderjaw, which is like the T-Rex equivalent in the game, which it's just so much fun. Absolutely enjoyed it, and I'm getting pretty close to the end now, so can't wait to complete it and then platinum it. Probably not New Game it though. There is separate achievements for New Game. It's like complete a new game on like ultra hard. Like I'm already struggling on normal. don't Dark Souls me, Overson. I need to go through the DLC as well. Because apparently the DLC is good as well. So yeah, that's all I've been playing.
Shall we have a question?
It's been a long
question?
time.
What's one of those?
Yeah. Topical one.
Ooh, topical. Okay.
Okay, so what is your favourite gaming Easter egg?
Haha, because it's Easter.
Yeah. Yeah. See what we did there.
See what we, yeah.
We are hip and on topic.
Shall I start?
Go on then, Mark.
If you want.
Because to be honest, I haven't been able to pick one. I've had to just pick it, but a bunch, to be quite honest. So basically, I've just gone run through some of my favourite from the GTA PS2 games.
Oh yeah.
Because they had some really good ones. So in
GTA always have fun ones.
Yeah. So in GTA 3, there was like a wall in a car park that, and as soon as you jumped over it, it said there was a sign on the wall that said that you weren't supposed to be able to get here, you know. Yeah. But you could.
I'm assuming you get over by like nefarious means, like you weren't meant to actually go.
Yeah, I can't quite remember how you got there, to be honest, but I just remember that sign. And then in Vice City, there was an actual Easter egg, an actual egg. So if you went on top of a building, so if you went, there's a building you could get into, and then you could jump towards another building, but you would face through the wall, and you would find yourself in a room, and there's an egg on a pedestal in the room, and it just says Happy Easter on the egg.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Then in the San Andreas, on top of the the thing that represents the Golden Gate Bridge. I can't remember what the bridge was called in the game. But on top of that, there was a sign that said, "There are no Easter eggs here. Go away."
Nice.
But then there were like continual Easter eggs that ran throughout the series. So there was like obviously the moon. So if you shot the moon with a sniper rifle,
it got bigger and
shrinks.
smaller.
Yeah,
it starts shrinking or getting bigger. I've seen that one.
And one other one that I remembered off the top of my head is the in the constellation stars. There was the Rockstar logo.
I didn't know about that one.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. So
was that
which GTA was in that one?
I think it was in all three of them. Well, might not have been the first one, but it was definitely in City and San Andreas. I'm sure of it.
Oh.
So there's like obviously they are, and then it's got the star.
Yeah, with the star.
The thing representing the star was brighter.
Ah. Right, I'm about to crack San Andreas on after this and go and check.
Yeah, that was quite nice.
Mm.
I've got one more, but it's from a completely different game, and it's for Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. And there's a boss battle with a sniper called The End. Now he's a very old.
I know it. Yeah.
He's a very old man,
Yeah.
And if you couldn't really bother to actually do the boss fight, there was a way to actually get around it.
Oh, does he die?
Well, what you could do is like if you just like stop playing the game and then you just put the clock forward by about a year or so, you go back into the game and he's just died of old age.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just like great.
He was probably like my favorite boss in that game because there was so many different ways how you could actually like go around to it. So there was like there's a moment.
It's just tactical, wasn't it? Really
yeah. Good. So there's actually a moment as well in the game earlier where you see him like in a wheelchair and like a dog.
Yeah.
And there's a way to actually not fire him at all. That like you've got like a few seconds after the cutscene ends.
Yeah.
To if you could snipe him before he like
before he escapes away.
You kill him there, and then at the point at where you should actually fire him, you just walk through and just it's like a normal area.
It's pretty good.
It was so funny.
That's me. So go on, Matt.
Me.
What's your Easter eggs?
Well, I'm pretty much in the same boat as you. Is that I couldn't really pinpoint one that was like my absolute favorite, but there's quite a few that I had to look up and remember. That was like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was actually pretty cool as an Easter egg. So, funnily enough, I didn't have this. I didn't have this on my list. But you talking about GTA Easter eggs reminded me of one. I think it was in GTA 4. So, their version of Statue of Liberty.
Ah, I know. Yeah, yeah.
If you got to a certain point on a platform,
Statue of Happiness, I think it was called.
Statue of Happiness, yeah. And you go off the helicopter, you manage to kind of land roughly in this area and whatnot. You could go inside and start climbing up this long ladder, and then when you got to the top,
it was a weird Easter egg.
It was a bit weird, yeah. Well, you climb up the ladder, go to the top of this platform, and then you could see like the heart of happiness, like an actual beating human heart in the statue. It was strange, so weird. I didn't understand the reference. It's like, oh, okay, it's just one of those Rockstar things, I suppose. A few others that I enjoyed. So I can't remember which Elder Scrolls game it's in. I'm pretty sure it's Skyrim, because like 9 times out of 10 it's normally Skyrim that have Easter eggs. Actually, two from Skyrim. Now I was just reminded. This is gonna be a long list. So there's one. I forget which town it is or which city. Well, it'd be town. But you can find like a hay, just like a pile of hay somewhere. That's underneath this kind of tall building. Next to it, there's just kind of like a dead guy in like assassin's robes, which plays off obviously the Assassin's Creed series of always being able to nail that hay bale jump and somehow surviving. Unfortunately, this one didn't, which was God rest his soul. Yeah. Another one that I've just actually remembered about Skyrim is, I want to say it's in Whiterun, but I could be wrong. But one of the like general shops you can go into, on the shelf, there's like a wheel of cheese, and then along it is like pellets of I think it's garlic, is it, or onion or something like that. And it's meant to represent Pac-Man.
I think it's Mark Arth, but yeah.
Yeah,
I know what you're
about. Which is really cool. That's kind of fun to find that. Outside of Skyrim, 3 that I actually really enjoyed. So there's this is gonna be a long list. So there's one in Batman Arkham Asylum that no one found for. According to what I've read, no one found this Easter egg for about 6-7 months until the developers had to come out and say, "Hey guys, you missed this." So there's a wall in the Warden Shop's office, and it's a very specific point. Like you have to be like pixel perfect. You have to, I think it's like three of the spray proximity bombs on it.
Yeah.
And when you activate it, it opens up a secret room, and in that room, it's got blueprints for Gotham City with like the logo Arkham all over it. And so this was like the tease for like the next Batman
Arkham for
game.
Arkham City, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, who would ever find that? Like, it's
part of me though thinks, was this a patched afterwards?
I
don't know if it was there from the start.
I don't know if they mentioned if it was a patch or if it's been in this game ever since it was released.
I know, because I would have thought someone would have found it.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? You'd think data miners,
things like that,
would find that kind of stuff. Then again, was data mining popular back in then? What was it, 2009 or something like that? I don't know, but it would be funny if they came out actually we patched it, and then like a day later we were like, "Hey guys, you missed this."
Just the day before that it was announced.
Yeah. Thing is, I think we actually knew about Arkham City before this as well. We like kind of knew there was something about us, what they're going to do with Gotham City. So that was kind of fun. Another Easter egg that I like is in Borderlands 2. So there's an area that's called I think it's the Caustic Caves. It's quite a toxic kind of area, but and it's all kind of got mines and stuff and that around it. And at one point, I think it's like the far left corner of the map, something like that. There's this pathway that you can jump along and stuff, and suddenly you start seeing a familiar set of blocks that are from a particular game that you can mine into, and once you come into it, you're in like a spawn area of creepers from Minecraft, of all things. And you start battling these like creepers and stuff, and suddenly there's this massive badass one that you have to defeat. But it'll always drop like a loot of like a Minecraft block face for a character, which is kind of cool. So that's fun. That's a fun little area to fight. And then one other one that I picked up on was in Fallout New Vegas. So you can only find this. There's quite a few Easter eggs if you take a perk early on in the game when you create your character. So the perk's called like Wild Wasteland, and like random stuff can happen depending on where you are. It's mostly Easter egg stuff. Like you'll find a crashed UFO or something, or there's like just weird stuff happens. But there's a one point. So between like your starting town that you're in and then like the next town you really realistically go towards, you kind of go along a road, you get kind of told to go towards there. You'll find like a refrigerator on the ground somewhere. It looks a bit nuclear, as it's been in a nuclear post-apocalyptic world. And you find a certain skeleton in there with a particular recognizable hat.
I think I know where you're going.
That may or may not belong to a certain archaeologist from a certain Spielberg film series called Indiana Jones. So basically, it was a play on I think it was Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
Yes.
Yeah, where in India's like the bright idea of, oh, the nuke's gonna hit this fake town. I know how to survive it. I'll just go into this fridge as it blows up. It's like, I don't think what happened in that film is entirely realistic. So yeah, it was a bit unfortunate for Mr. Indy in New Vegas, unfortunately. But yeah, those are some of my favorite Easter eggs. What about you, Nathan?
Yeah, so firstly on to physical eggs that you can find within a game. So when I first got my Xbox 360, a game that I really loved playing off of the Xbox Live Arcade was Marble Blast Ultra. Honestly, if they could port that to like some of the newer consoles, I'd be so happy to re-download that again. That'd be amazing. But yeah, on certain levels, you could get these Easter eggs that you can find. So some of them would be under the map. So basically, if you've not played Marble Blast Ultra before, it's basically you are the marble and you've got to traverse through levels as this marble. And some of the Easter eggs, to get them, you'd have to throw yourself off the level and somehow curve yourself under the level to get these eggs. I mean, it was insane where some of them were, but yeah, so I like them because they are eggs. Another one, an Easter egg in Gears of War. So this was on one of the multiplayer maps, and if you kind of caught the light properly in a building, you could see somebody dead on the toilet, and that I'd like to think that they thought about maybe Elvis. Because he died on the toilet. So I just thought that was quite a funny one there. Another one, this is quite a blatant one, but I'll mention it anyway. So this is on The Last of Us Part 2, where you see the PS3 and you get games there like Uncharted. And when you see the PS3 in this library, you get to like a power generator. And I was hoping and praying that, oh, this is going to switch the PS3 on. I'm going to be able to play Uncharted. Like, I've never played Uncharted before, but I'll give it a go. But yeah, sadly, it didn't turn the PS3 on, and I couldn't use it. That would have been a really cool thing, though, if they managed to emulate the PS3 within The Last of Us Part 2. That'd just be amazing, mind-blowing. Another Easter egg is in Wolfenstein: The New Order. So BJ Blazkowicz, he has a dream at one point, but in his dream, he's playing the original Doom. So I thought that was a cool one.
Was it Doom or was it the original Wolfenstein?
Sorry, the original Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do get compared a lot.
Doom.
Yeah. Yeah, you played the original
cool.
Wolfenstein. Yeah. That is a really cool one. I'd never played the original before.
It happens in Wolfenstein, the New Order, and then was it the sequel as well? Is it the New Colossus? Yeah, because I think in there, I can't remember. I'll probably get it switched up. I think in the first one, you go to sleep and then you dream you play in Wolfenstein, and I think in the second one, I think there's it might be the same thing actually, because like the hub world that you're in, little like
the ship.
the submarine ship thing. I think you can do the same thing. You can go to your bunk bed, sleep, and then suddenly you're in like another level of like the original Wolfenstein. I want to be able to do the one where you fight the Robo Hitler.
The Robo Hitler.
Yeah. Like the final boss. I just want to take on Robo Hitler.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a cool one as well. A nice little homage back to the original. Nice. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think that's about it. Oh, wait a minute. There's one more visual one I've got. So, everybody praised Spider-Man for what a beautiful game it was. But there's this one guy in a boat that looks absolutely hideous. And I'll show him to you now. So if you manage to find him, that's what he looks like. So that was on the first game. But in making the second game, they decided to put a little message to us. That one. So it says, did you miss us? And I'm like, yeah, we missed you. But I just think that's really cool. That they saw that and decided to put something in the next game about it. So, yeah.
Because you talking about Last of Us Part 2 is actually reminding me of one last Easter egg that I actually found quite funny.
Nope, you've had enough now. No, I'm joking.
No, I'm gonna mention it. So there's a one point where you it's really early on. So it's you're playing as Ellie with Dina, and you end up in one of the outposts or whatnot that you need to turn the power on and stuff. And as you kind of go, I think it's downstairs, and you kind of find the power and stuff, or like where this person's been sleeping. There's one, let's say, adult video that's laying around that has a very Easter egg tile that rhymes with Crash Bandicoot, and that's as much as I'm gonna say for PG reasons. But I just thought it was hilarious.
Okay. Shall we move on to the video game Hall of Fame?
Yep.
Good transition.
So this is where I take a look at it. No, let's start that again.
Bloopers.
This is where we take an in-depth look at a game of high quality historical importance and induct it into our pantheon of games we feel deserve special recognition. Our inductee this episode was released in 1998 for the Sony PlayStation. Developed and published by Konami, it's Metal Gear Solid.
Snake!
We finally did it.
What a game. What a game.
I
remember just getting this in 98 and it just blew my mind. It was like nothing I'd ever played. Just the cinematic nature of it It's just like you were playing a film. That's what you were doing.
Yeah, I think there's something ridiculous, like 4 hours of like dialogue and cutscenes. It's insane.
So, it's just a quick run through the plot. So, a group known as Foxhound have taken over a nuclear weapons disposal facility on the island of Shadow Moses in Alaska. You play Solid Snake, a stealth operative sent in to rescue 2 hostages and determine whether the group have the capability to launch a nuclear weapon. Which it turns out they do. This thing called Metal Gear Rex.
What name?
Yeah. Impressive looking robot, though.
Oh yeah, I'd love to have like a figurine of it.
I thought you were going to say I'd love to have a weapon like that.
Well, yeah, true. That as well, you know.
So you've only played this recently, haven't you, Nathan?
Yeah.
Did you complete
I will premise I've not completed it just yet. No.
Ooh.
No. Right. So I'll start with what I liked about it. As it started, I thought the music was really cool, and I really liked it.
Music's really for someone like back in 1998 on a PlayStation, like easily some of the best music that console has.
Yeah, definitely. As I got into the game, I think for me, I don't know whether it's because I never played it originally, but I found it to be quite a fairly steep learning curve. I don't know how many times it took me to complete that first level. But basically, as you start, you've got to try and get past these guys to get to this lift. And as you get to the lift, somebody comes out of it, and that's the person that always used to get me. Yeah. And I should have just done what I was told, because as soon as I started hiding and being stealthy, I decided to. I got further in the game, which is good.
Well, that's the thing about this, though, isn't it? It's like it goes against all your instincts you expect from games. Is that it actively encourages you
want to start
not get involved in violence.
Yeah, you want to start against like a firefight, really, don't you? But it's like the game is very punishing. That like, no, that's not what you should be doing. You're gonna get killed.
Well, that's it. I mean, even if you do get the drop on somebody and start hitting them and stuff, there's always somebody else there that they alert, and they've got guns. So you're screwed if
you've got a tranquilizer gun.
Go head to head with them.
You can't kill anyone.
Yeah,
I don't think
that's it. You could. Like the way I knocked people out, I could knock them out, but they were only knocked out for a few seconds, and then they were back up on the beat again.
Yeah.
So I quickly found that I needed to be more stealthy in the way that I played the game, because going head first into it just did not work whatsoever. But I think from what I've played so far, it's fun. I mean, once I got my head around that I need to be stealthy, and that's the mindset that I needed to get in. I think it's aged fairly well. I mean, some of the graphics are a bit meh, but I think in terms of like the gameplay, at the time I think this is fantastic. Yeah, like just to say it's 23 years old, it's fantastic. And what were I going to say? It's fine. I liked how I liked the dialogue between everybody as well, the way that they did it. Because when I didn't know anything about the game when I was coming in, so I thought, it's going to be that I'll need to read a load of text boxes and stuff, and I'm not really into that thing, reading. So I was pleasantly surprised when I found that you could use your phone or whatever it is to kind of have conversations. That's it. So that was good. But I think the gameplay itself holds up really well. It's like I'd say it's more 2.5D in terms of the way that the levels are broken up at points. But it was, I really enjoyed it, and I'm enjoying the story aspect of it so far. There's just so many twists and turns. It's like you're in the middle of like a spy film, which is great.
Well, that's pretty much what Kojima was kind of going for at that point, wasn't he? I think this was like the first game he made where it's like he got to flex his cinematic muscles and be able to like make a film out of a game that he's always wanted to do. But yeah, like I think when I first played this, I was quite overwhelmed at like the aspect of like the whole how you get to play it. You got to be incredibly stealthy early on. Like there's no getting into gunfights and whatnot. It's pretty much kind of memorize enemy, pathing. Know when they're coming. Know kind of if you do alert them, kind of where to go to hide and go under those vents and stuff. That was fun.
It was just the details in it. It's like when you get after you've got through that first bit and then you're outside and the helipad bit. It's just like then you walk on the snow. Whose footprints are these?
Yeah.
And then the guy starts following the footprints. It's just like at that time, it's just like, oh right, I can lead him astray.
No, yeah, that's really good detail. Because like you can start going like in an 8 figure, and they'll start following in the 8 figure, even though you're standing there in front of him, like hello. Stop following the footprints. I'm right here. And like being able to like press yourself against the walls as well, and like
the camera changes
on the walls. And you're like, what noise was that?
Yeah, that when the camera changes when you're against the wall. That was quite impressive as well.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good because it's almost like almost precursed like a third person camera, isn't it? In effect.
Yeah.
That was good. There's just like there's so much freedom to get from A to B and like what you can do, and like for something like that in 1998 it was like incredibly impressive. Like so much, so many different ways.
Because we were just used to more linear style games at that point.
Yeah,
so it was kind of like a pre-Hitman, if you will. I think you could probably talk more on that, Mark. But for me, they just seem fairly similar in terms of what they'll let you do and the freedom that you get to get from A to Z, as Matt said.
That's I'd say Metal Gear was a bit more linear, but I know.
Yeah, there's a definite A and there's definite B, whereas like Hitman, there's a bit more freedom of like what is A, what is B. But I mean, for the time at least, it's incredibly impressive. I mean, just the first part up until you get to trying to think what the first major plot point is. I think it's you meet Meryl, isn't it? I think was one of the first big ones.
Well, you come against the DARPA chief, Donald Anderson.
That's it, DARPA chief. Yeah. So the whole point was to find DARPA chief first. That was like the first objective, and find out where he's located.
Just before we get any further, how far have you got, Nathan?
That's the question. Don't worry about spoilers. It's fine. Just do what you need to do.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Well, how far have you got anyway? Just out of curiosity.
How many hours do you think you've done? Maybe I'll.
What was the last thing you did?
I'm
gonna cut this bit out.
Spoke to somebody in a prison cell. One of the guy. I've not got too far. I spoke to one of these guys in a prison cell, and he's talked to me about this guy that's got like psychic powers. That's got like the codes to the like his set of the codes for the nuclear device.
Right, so there's the DARPA chief, and then there's it was the other guy that's tied up.
I can't remember his name.
Baker.
I think.
Yeah.
Were he in a prison cell?
Well, you find the DARPA chief in a prison cell.
Have you had any boss fights?
Not as far as I know.
Wow, you have not gone very far at all.
No,
not very far. You are in for a treat for how long this game is.
I honestly feel like I don't want to say anymore. I don't want to
go on.
I feel like I don't want to say anything because
I'll make my own way through.
He'll forget about this tomorrow. Trying to remember where we were now, where we were talking about before we started asking how far Nathan going. Oh yeah.
So this DARPA chief guy informs you about the Metal Gear project. Basically, it's like this walking bipedal tank thing. And then there's the guard outside, God, Johnny was a bit of
Johnny,
he's a bit of a recurring character in the Metal Gear series.
He's the Easter egg hole in himself.
Yeah, but he's dumb. We'll say that. This is a bit weird because you're clearly having a chat. So Snake and this Darpa chief are clearly having a chat, and then he's walking outside, and then he just, instead of like barging in and shooting Snake, he just opens the thing on the door and just says, "Shut up, will you?" It's like, who do you think he's talking to?
Do you not know? If I recall, this might be incorrectly. Did they have the whole chat via codec? So it's
No, they just studied there.
Oh yeah.
I found that a bit weird. I think that's about as where I got to. Like, and the guy that you were talking to seems to like usher him away, and he just walks off. That's how I read it anyway. Yeah.
Oh, hey, I'm just having a friendly chat with this man in this car.
But then obviously Meryl's in the cell next door.
Doing sit-ups or whatever.
Yeah. She escapes, knocks out Johnny, takes his uniform, and then there's the brilliant bit where Snake comes out of the door and Meryl's pointing the gun and he looks over and he's just Johnny's naked
just like,
on the floor with his ass in the air. Just like, what?
What did you do to this man?
Yeah, there's an odd sense of humour at parts of it. If I was going to criticise the game for one thing, I'd say its portrayal of its female characters isn't the best. Or particularly the way Snake speaks about them.
Well, I did think that some of the dialogue was suspect.
Yeah, it's like how many sexual harassment
Solid
lawsuits
Snake is a sexual predator.
Yeah. And basically, there's like a gratuitous shot in there when Meryl leaves, and it's just of her backside.
Yeah, it's just Snake's just like, ooh, that ass.
Yeah.
I'll remember that ass later in the game. That's actually a plot point.
Yeah, it is.
There's a literal plot point. So it's like you get to that point, and then Snake's all about having to find. No. Is it? He has to find Baker, doesn't he? Because he's got like the guy with the Is he like
the arm stick president?
The arms, yeah.
Arm stick president.
So I remember specifically the room kind of before you kind of sort of find him was quite difficult. Because a lot of it was just like trap door.
The trap doors. Yeah.
They were fun. No. Like as soon as you heard that like little click once you've stepped on the floor, you're like, oh well, that's me. But
I like the way you got out of the room. The C4 on the walls. You have to look carefully.
Yeah, that's clever. There's a clever little thing about it. So to find, I suppose the secret entrance into the room where Baker is, you have to go along the walls and start knocking, like doing the knocking stuff. Obviously, it's a bit dangerous to do that because there's guards in the room. So if you haven't taken them out, you start alerting guards and whatnot. But once you start hearing like a kind of a more of like a hollow knock, that's the part of the wall you need to blow up. I thought it was quite clever.
Yeah.
Kojima's good with those little details and stuff in his games, like.
So then you get into the bit with the arm stick guy, and he's tied up with all the C4. And this is where, of course, where you come against Revolver Ocelot for the first time.
Ocelot.
Favorite villain in games. Amazing, love him.
Yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite, especially at least this iteration of him. I think.
But this boss fight's quite annoying, though.
Well, the ricochet was.
Yeah. So basically, it feels like he's just running around this arm stick bloke who's tied up, whilst he's constantly making this.
Oh yeah,
that's all he does.
You can shoot him as well. With like, you can shoot him quite a few times actually without him dying. He's just like,
It's like you and Ocelot are just like continually just going around these pillars, just like chasing each other. And because he has a revolver, you have to wait until he's reloaded because he's got like a reload counter. And then you're supposed to shoot him at that.
Shots.
Yeah.
6 shots is all I need. That might be a different Metal Gear, actually. I'm probably quite.
Speaking of innuendos, Revolver Ocelot came out one in this boss fight. I don't know if you heard it. But he said, "There's nothing like the feeling of slamming a long silver bullet into a well-greased chamber."
Well,
The man likes his revolver.
Does he indeed?
Yeah. 2 revolvers in this one as well, wasn't it? He had double revolvers.
Yes. Well, no, because something happens in this fight. That means he's...
Well, no, during the fight, he has double revolvers. After the end of the fight, he doesn't have double revolvers anymore.
Yeah. Because some mystic ninja bloke turns up. Chops
Some
his arm off.
invisible ninja. With samurai sword. Chops his arm off.
Cyborg ninja.
Cyborg, there we go. Yeah.
And then he just runs off, basically.
Yeah.
Well, what I like is that this was the first occasion where, we'll come on to this a bit later, I'm sure, but this is the first bit where it sort of blurred the game and reality. Because the Armstech president, he says to you, like, you need Merrill's codec number. You'll find it on the back of the box.
Yes, yeah.
And like, if you're thinking, what box? What are you on about? What box? But it actually meant the actual case for the game.
Yeah, it's the only way you could find it without just going through the numbers.
Yeah, look on the back.
Yeah, on the back.
So is the codec?
It's like a codec conversation screen.
Yeah, with Merrill.
oh yeah.
That's what it's referring to.
That's how you find a number.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane.
There's no way in the game that you can find it other than.
Do you reckon that was like a copyright thing, maybe?
I'm sure copies could still be made, but no, because
I reckon it's just Kojima being Kojima, isn't it? He loves his outside the box fourth wall breaking stuff.
It's not the only fourth wall thing. I did do a bit of research external to playing a bit of the game, and there's a bit of dialogue that you get if you use your codecs with a mono television. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but they know that you're using a mono television instead of a stereo one.
Okay.
And there's like a little bit of dialogue that goes on about you having a mono television, which is weird.
I wonder if that's for a bit later on, maybe. Because there's someone with psychic powers who starts getting a bit crazy a little bit later on. But we'll get to that.
So basically, these two guys you've met so far, they both die under weird circumstances.
Yeah. So after your conversation with the dog chief, he starts having, I suppose, what's described as like a heart attack. And then the same happens with Baker towards the end of talking with him. He just starts having a heart attack out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's not quite explained what's going on. Why does it seem like these guys seem to be having heart attacks quite conveniently?
So then you got to travel up north, and this is where you get to bits of the. So you go back to the hangar bit. I think it's the hangar. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got to do a laser field.
That's invisible.
Unless you've got the thermal goggles. But what I like is that, yeah. Or you could
start getting into your snake's nasty habits.
Yeah. Pull out his cigarettes, which he smuggled in his stomach, apparently. If you listen to the dialogue earlier.
Yeah. Oh god.
Noticed that. Like, what?
How did he get him?
How?
How did he get him back out? Which way did they come?
Well.
Well, who knows?
That's a secret for another time.
You get outside, and then you have another boss battle. I have to say that in this game, the boss battles do come pretty thick and fast, particularly later on. And then you have a battle with a tank, or a Vulcan Raven in a tank. There's this
it's the Vulcan Raven,
big massive dude who just likes ravens. That's what
I think he's got like a raven tattoo somewhere.
On his head. Yeah,
that's
on his forehead.
On his forehead. Weird.
So basically, you just go and start chucking a few grenades into the top of his tank, kill his little minions, but you don't kill him, do you?
No,
because you come across him a bit later.
Well, I think this was also okay. I think this is the first time where you come across the minefield as well. You have to be like,
yes,
you have to be careful where you start running around. Otherwise,
yeah, if you had the thermal goggles, you could do it.
Yeah, you'd be fine.
There's a mine detector as well, isn't there?
Yes, I think with the mine detectors,
that only showed it on the radar.
Yeah, but I think, do you use that to be able to pick them up, or can you just
You can just
crawl?
crawl. Yeah. If you just crawl, you'll pick them up either way.
Yeah, that's fine.
So if you just crawl to get across the hole, so they'll feel you'll have made it. But,
While the tank's firing it.
yeah, you might want to avoid that.
Possibly.
So Snake now gets into the nuclear warhead storage facility, and this bit always confused me, because like you were told you're not allowed to use your weapons in here, and that
but the guards.
Dr. Naomi Hunter, I think that's her name, isn't it? Who says like, I've done something to your genes which prevents you doing something, so you can't physically pull out your gun, or some story aspect. But then, so if you get spotted in it, that's it. Weapons free for all guards. It's just like they don't care.
They start firing, boom.
Yeah. It's basically, you're not supposed to use the weapons in there because there's nuclear warheads in there, so that will leak nuclear material and cause an explosion or whatever. But yeah, no, guards don't care. It's just bang bang, shoot it.
For guards, huh?
Yeah. You go into so you work your way into a lift, don't you? And then you go to this. The bit with the electrified floor?
Yes, yeah. So I don't know if you pick it up around at this point, but you make your way to eventually getting a weapon at some point that will help you.
Yeah, the Nikita missile.
I loved it.
It was cool.
Yeah. Especially when you could go first person way and you start then really controlling it.
Because basically this bit you've got to try and destroy the electric box, haven't you? That's electrifying its floor by sending this missile down it and controlling it around a bunch of corridors to then reach the box.
I found this quite difficult. I think it's just the controls.
It was if you didn't realize about the first person thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, and there's another thing is like, if you left it in one position for a second, the rocket sped up.
It speeds up, yeah. It gets like a speed boost.
So sometimes it's just like, you weren't expecting that, you just fly straight into a wall or something.
Yeah, and then alert the guards, like, oh great.
Yeah. You get through all that, and then you come across the bloody corridor.
Yeah, this is when Metal Gear Solid turns into a horror film.
When you first walk through that door, it's like, oh, this is a bit scary, isn't it?
It's a bit bloody, but ominous.
It's basically just like dead soldiers all over this corridor and blood splattered all over the wall. And then you see it's the cyborg ninja guy you saw earlier. And is he like got somebody on the end of his sword and he's holding up in the air or something like that? Because he's invisible, partly.
I can't remember. Yeah, he does start invisible. I think you see. I don't know if it's quite a guard is starting to back up and then gets skewered to the wall, or if he's like already been held up, sort of thing. But yeah, it's a bit like, whoa, who's this guy? Like, don't want to mess with this bloke.
Yeah. So basically, you've been heading towards this lab where this guy called Otacon, Dr. Hal Emmerich, aka Otacon.
Yeah.
That's his lab, and then obviously the cyborg ninja's after him, and he's, let's just say, embarrasses himself. Told Otacon, don't know. He's crawling on the floor and pees himself.
Yeah, he like starts crawling away and just absolutely wets himself, which is probably a fair reaction to someone trying to murder you potentially. Yeah,
I guess so.
Maybe.
Have a bit of dignity at least.
And then he just runs and hides in the cupboard. No, he doesn't. So then you have this fight with the cyborg ninja, don't you? But this was quite a unique one, is that you couldn't use your weapons. It was a fist fight only. If you pulled out your weapons, you always deflected.
Yeah, he always deflected bullet shots. So you had to be quite creative in this one, I think. Or it was more about timing, I think, because at some point then he's invisible for most of the fight.
Yeah, he can't.
But there's there's obvious. There's like an obvious shimmer somewhere. Yeah. That you know that he's there. So good fight though, really good little boss fight.
Did you know there's a PlayStation in the middle of his lab? An actual original PlayStation.
That's an Easter egg right there.
Yeah.
It's
a bit darker than it was in real life, but it's a PlayStation, yeah. that he's just got in the middle of his lab.
Oh, why not? You know?
Look out for that.
That's how he tests out the Rex. Just gets the controller out, starts moving around.
So then, obviously, you get you win the fight, and you get Otacon out of his cupboard, and it turns out he's got stealth camouflage. So these are like basically just makes you invisible. And then he just holds on to it. I'm just like, Otacon, no, give me that. I could use that, not you.
I'm the espionage guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he just runs off with it.
I'm the tactical espionage guy.
And then we'll probably get to one of the most memorable bits of the whole game. You go a bit further on, and then you meet Meryl again. Is it in the bathroom? It's probably the way this is with the female characters.
Yeah, so it's like
you chase her into the bathroom. Yeah, you actually chase her into the bathroom. Yeah.
She's got, is it like level 4 or 5 access to go further from where you need to go?
Yeah.
And so the room that you end up in, Colonel, what's his name?
Campbell.
Campbell, sorry, yeah.
Roy
Campbell. Was it like Colonel Campbell?
Yeah, it's Colonel.
Like
Colonel Roy Campbell.
Yeah. It tells you that like Meryl's got this, and the one way to be able to spot her out of the different soldiers was the way she walked.
Yes.
So if you can remember how she walked previously in the game, that was one way of spotting her. So you went around looking behind soldiers' behinds to see if you can find a slender figure.
But so you go in and she runs, doesn't she? She runs into the toilet.
So once you've spotted her, she runs into the, was it men's or women's toilets? I think it's the men's.
I think it's the women's, but if you're quick enough about it, you end up seeing her in her underwear, apparently. Which again is just another typical.
Well, it harkens
the way this game's going, that doesn't surprise me.
It harkens a little bit back to another Easter egg for Metal Gear when you're in the vents before you meet the DARPA chief. So as you go through the vents, you can see Meryl in her room. She's doing her push-ups and whatnot, and sit-ups, and then you can see the DARPA chief in his, and that's how you get into his room. I forgot what you meant to do. I don't know if it's like a certain code or if you have to wait for a certain amount of time. I never activated it because I was an innocent child, but YouTube videos told me. You did a certain thing, and then when you went back to Meryl's room, she was in her underwear.
Yeah.
Oh, she had at least like the pants was like off. It was like, how horny were the game developers making this game?
Then after all that, you go into this. Well, there's like this ominous music playing that you could hear, which was intriguing because it was like they could hear it in game. It was like, what's that music?
Yeah, they could hear the music,
which is a bit weird because you think to us it's just like some background music, but it's actually mentioned in game. You go into this room and you come across Psycho Mantis, don't you?
Psycho Mantis,
probably
what a villain.
One of the most memorable boss fights, not just in this, but in gaming as a whole.
Yeah, very, very unique. I don't think any other really game has like done this, or if they have, it's like a parody, clearly inspired by this.
So basically, this was another thing where it was sort of like blurred reality and the game. So basically, it's like, to begin with, depending on how well you'd played up to this point, it would sort of like describe how you played. So if you played well, it'd be like, oh, you were very good at sneaking, you were.
Yeah.
And then other times he might say, oh, you were very reckless. If you'd done it so badly.
Yeah, I think that was probably me first time around. Like, oh, well.
And then he reads your memory card.
What?
He does, yeah.
Obviously, this is back in the PS1 days. It would read your memory card, and if you had any other Konami games on it, he would make a mention of them.
Right.
Yeah, there's some really good ones. Like there's one for like Castlevania.
Yeah.
There's one on I think Kojima's other game series they made. Is it Panzer Corps? I think it would just make mention of these games, and you're like, what?
Didn't Konami do like F1 Racer or something like that? I'm sure they did like a racing game.
I'm not sure at this point, but I know a memorable thing as well is that he would read how often you saved as well.
Yeah.
So if it'd been a while that he'd saved, he'd like mention like, oh, it's been a while since you've saved a while, or like, oh, you've saved quite recently. It's very unique and like fun to find out why you'd save. Like,
But it was like, oh, you doubt my power. Put your controller on the floor. He actually said that. Put your controller on the floor. Which seems a bit weird.
yeah. It's like, why do I want to put the controller?
Like, all right, I'll do it. And then he just
No, he only does this, I think, if you have the dual shock.
well,
Sure.
that makes sense. Otherwise, it'd be terrible if it didn't.
Well, yeah,
because it wouldn't work.
But it's like, no, but it was a unique thing with the dual shock, wasn't it? So like, if you put your dual shock down, he would rumble it as though it's like he's controlling.
So basically, he'd like throw his hands forward, and then when he did that, he would vibrate the pad, and then he'd do it again with the other hand, and then finally he'd just like do it double, and I think it vibrated more then.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, if you don't have it, then it was a bit silly.
It seems trivial now, the way pad vibration is now, but back then it was mind blowing. Well, quite literally.
It's like, oh, geez.
Yeah. And then there was obviously then you start the fight with him, and there's a bit where it cuts out. Where he just goes to a black screen.
Yeah, it just goes black.
Oh, so you think it's turning your console off?
Yeah.
Precursor to Arkham Asylum.
And it happened in Metal Gear 2 and all. But yeah.
But yeah, like the fight starts. Well, he initially takes control of Meryl, who you have to like knock out. You could kill her at this point, actually. I think you. Oh wait, no, I don't think you can kill her. You can injure her with bullets. That's it. You can injure with real bullets or just knock her out. But yeah, as like the fight kind of escalated after you knocked Meryl out, he just starts doing a lot of random stuff like black screen, or you're doing some of the controller and it's doing like the reverse or something. Yeah. Like he starts screwing over the controls.
You got to figure out how to sort that out, haven't you?
Yeah, you got to figure out like how do you battle this guy who can read you what you're doing on your controller, basically.
So the solution is you got to put your controller into port 2.
Again, port 2 doesn't have the memory card, so you can't read it. Yeah.
Again, blurring reality.
I think when I get to that point, I'm going to put 2 memory cards in and see what happens.
Screw then. Reads both.
Yeah. No.
Well, there's like a... Because he can go invisible and all that. You know, if you press triangle...
He floats around and he can like block, telepathically block bullets as well, I think.
So if you press triangle, obviously it's to first person usually. Is that right? Is it triangle?
I think you're right, yeah.
But then, but in this battle, when you do that, you see it through his eyes. So that kind of alerts you to where he is.
That's very
It's good. What a great fight.
I'm trying to remember. I think it's after so long because you'll get codec calls throughout the fight of like trying to get advice from Campbell and Mel. I think is it the Mailing. That's it. Sorry. I think eventually, after a while, I think one of them comes up with the suggestion of, why don't you try and plug your controller into port 2 because you won't be able to read it at some point. Then that's the only way you meant to find out how to beat him. But normally at that point you probably lost. So.
Yeah.
Because he is difficult if you try and find him normally. I don't think you can actually beat him if you don't plug into port 2. I could be wrong.
No, you probably won't. No, I don't think you can.
It'd be massively difficult. I'd love to see if someone has done it, but then once you plug into port 2, it actually becomes kind of easy. Because he can't read you, so his attacks aren't a lot more predictable, and he doesn't go as invisible as much. So
yeah. So anyway, you beat him and you carry on. and then you go into this long like room, and
Ooh, just before you carry on, like once you beat him and you start learning his backstory and stuff, I just thought he was quite a sympathetic character. I felt really sorry for him. 'Cause you end up like taking his mask off, and you just see all these like scars, and I think some part of his face is like balled together. And learning his backstory and kind of what happened and how Liquid kind of saved him from himself. It was a sympathetic character. Really enjoyed him. Very good film.
so you get through this, and you get to this bit with this corridor. It's like a long ass corridor, massive. And there's like this mine section at the start, and Meryl just like walks straight through it, just like, I'll show you the way to walk around these mines.
The long corridor. Yeah.
It's just like, what? How have you done that? And basically, in game, it's explained as that when she was taken over by Psycho Mantis, it gave her the ability to see where these mines were. But I just found that a bit weird.
She could see the future, and she knew where the mines were, something like that.
Yeah, but she didn't see the future next, did she? Because then she's shot by Sniper Wolf.
Yeah.
So she's shot in the leg twice, and then one in the arm. And then obviously Snake's crying. Well, he's not crying about it, but he's like, "Oh, Meryl, stop moving." So basically, the idea is that Sniper Wolf is trying to lure Snake out, and then you've got to leg it back through the entire game. You've got to this point to get a sniper rifle.
Yeah.
To then return.
This was not a fun bit.
Well,
I forgot where it was. Is it one of the rooms in the hangar, or is it one of the rooms in the trap floor rooms? I think it was one of those, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the trap room floor one.
Yeah,
by this point,
there's like a level.
Card
yeah.
to get into
you find there's like a level 5 room that you couldn't open earlier, and then you find out you can't open it, and then you make it all the way back.
Yeah, so then you got to run all the way back. Thankfully, it's slightly a bit easier. But then obviously you basically shoot her down the corridor, and then you just like you go up. By this point, Mel's disappeared. She's not there anymore.
Yeah, there's just like a blood stain.
And then, so you kill Sniper Wolf, or you think you have, and then you just get captured so easily. So you just walk to open a door.
Like you make it to like the end of the corridor. You go in, and it's like, oh well, cool.
Yeah, just as you're about to enter through the door, a couple of guards turn up, point his gun at you, and then Sniper Wolf just turns up. He's like, I just shot you dead, like a zillion bullets.
Sure, just killed
but no,
you.
she's fine, absolutely fine. And then one of the guards just whacks you over the head. He's sparked out, and this has come to another infamous scene. So the infamous torture scene.
Part of the game, at least. Yes, yeah. You'll have fun once you get this far now.
Yeah. So basically, Revolver Ocelot, you're tied to this machine thing, and it runs electric current through it, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah, it's like electric current that starts, it goes up and down, or something like that.
So basically, so like you've got
voltage, not velocity. Sorry.
Yeah. So it sends this electric current through you, and you've got to mash the circle button to keep this bar from not depleting.
Okay.
And it becomes very strenuous.
I hate this. Absolutely destroyed.
But I don't like button mashing at the best of times.
But if you press select, you would submit.
Okay.
Yeah, you could just submit straight to it.
Does that change the game at all?
It does.
Yeah. Well, so at this point, it's like, ooh.
But basically, it's like if you submit, Meryl dies. That's your thing.
Okay.
So basically, you mash the buttons, and whatever happens. Because it only ends up to something at the very end. That's the only.
Yeah, it'll lead us to the end. Yeah.
But I do like the prison cell that they put you in, like how you escape from the prison cell. That's pretty cool.
Well, there's a few different ways, wasn't there?
Mm.
Again, this is like the point where you've got a few different options. So you'll get to this point if you just submitted in the torture device straight away, or I think you survive after, I think it's like 3 rounds of it. I think you have to go through 3.
Yeah, it's 3 or 4.
3 lots.
I think it's
3 or
depending
4,
on,
something like that.
it's depending on which difficulty level you put it on. But yeah.
Ah, right. I never played more than normal, so I never tried the hardest one. But yeah, if you survive that point, then you'd get to this point where you're in your cell room, and in your cell room is
Well, you've got this guard who's like, it's Johnny again.
yeah,
outside
Johnny
you.
again.
I mean, you're so
Got his
lucky
clothes
you
back.
get this terrible guard with you all the time. But yeah, there's someone else in the cell with you, isn't there? The DARPA chief.
He's there.
He's dead.
Running
body
away.
in the corner. Yeah. That's pleasant.
Yeah. But you start to realize that when you analyze his bodies, that there's been maggots all over his dead body.
Yeah.
And strangely,
He's only been dead about a couple of hours.
yeah, maggots shouldn't really be around his dead body yet. So why is that?
Well, basically, you try and get out of this cell. But there's as you mentioned, there's a couple of ways of doing it. I mean, I like the one where you just hide under the bed.
Yeah,
so basically,
I like that one.
This Johnny guard is like, he's a bit ill, so he keeps like running to the toilet. It's like, so he runs to the toilet, and then you can just hide under the bed, and then he comes back and he's like, "Where are you?"
So then he comes in, and
so then he just runs into the cell, and then you just pop out and take him out.
Yeah.
But I have to say, my favourite one is if you wait long enough, then Otacon turns up, and he's like,
"Oh, that's
and Otacon's like, you're there thinking, oh, Otacon's going to let me out, and he doesn't. He just like gives you like a tin of something and a bottle of ketchup. It's like, oh, I thought you were hungry.
Oh no, this is my favorite one. Yeah.
I mean, it's like a diver.
So basically, once Johnny runs off again, what you can do is you can lay on the floor and spray the ketchup bottle, and then it starts pouring out, so it looks like you're bleeding.
Yeah, it's like you just bled to death.
And then obviously Johnny's a bit surprised by this and legs it in again, and then again you take him out.
Oh, he's the worst guard ever, isn't he?
Yeah. But I don't like the fact that Otacon, when he came up, he says like, he refused to take out the guard. I was like, mate, you've got the stealth camouflage. Kick it in.
Could have even used the ketchup just to smash him over the head with.
Yeah, he could have easily just picked some up and just
be hard enough just get a whack.
But he's a wuss. He really is a wuss.
Yeah, Argon's not very good.
Yeah. So you bust out of there, and you're running up the communication tower of doom. Do you remember this?
Yeah. Well, you pick up all your gear from the
from the torture room.
Yeah. And then you run up these what seems like an infinite amount of stairs.
It goes on and on, doesn't it?
It's on and on. You start with, I think you start with like a little firefight at the start of it, don't you?
Yeah, it's like you go through a door and you're automatically spotted by a camera. You can't avoid it. It's a set piece basically, isn't it? It's just like there's no avoiding.
Yeah, so you get found out, so you have to like go through. I think at this point, I don't know where you pick it up, but you get like the assault rifle.
Yeah, the FAMAS.
The FAMAS, yeah. Such a good weapon. And so you just go up these levels of stairs, just pretty much mowing down soldiers as you're trying to make your way to
so basically, if you just hold one direction, it'll just take you up the entire stairs. But it just keeps going on and on and on and on.
While you're fighting soldiers.
It's like the ladder that were in Metal Gear 3. Don't know if you remember that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That'll be for another Hall of Fame, maybe.
So he gets to the top of the tower. And then that's when the Hind D comes. And then that's that. Well, Liquid Snake. We never even mentioned Liquid Snake, have we?
No, he's like, he's there pretty much right at the start. He pretty much comes in and goes, I'm going to get in this Hinds now. No, he didn't say that, but gets in the Hinds, buggers off.
Takes down two F-16s. Is it F-16s? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have to rappel down the tower as he's shooting at you.
That was really cool. I like that bit.
There you have the battle with him at the tower, top of the tower. So this is where you get the Stinger missiles. They're pretty cool as well.
They're fun. They're pretty cool. Lock-on missiles.
Yeah. But basically, you just spend most of that fight just running around this block that's in the middle.
Yeah, you're
Just
around
trying to hide from his
you're
gunfire.
hiding from his missiles, and then you pop up and start hitting with missile, and then you start the process over again.
Yeah. And then, well, you destroy that.
Yeah, take him out. Hind falls, crashes, burns.
Game over. No,
Yep.
not quite. But then, so there's this thing about this lift in this tower that won't move, and then it starts moving.
Yes, yeah.
And then like you and because Otacon turns up because obviously he's got his stealth
Yeah,
suit.
so
He just turns up.
so
everywhere.
Argon had taken lift at this point, gone up. He was fine. Meet Snake. You get on the lift because you're going down to the bomb, and then at some point it just stops,
Mm.
and you're kind of wondering why. And it starts saying about, oh wait,
The weight limit.
the weight limit's gone over or something. You're like, wow, Snake's pretty much. I don't remember Snake putting on too many pounds since he was
Yeah.
tortured.
Stretching that sneaky suit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you find out
Well,
there's
Otacon.
probably a few.
Yeah, Otacon conveniently tells you that there was apparently 5 stealth prototype. I think it was 5 camouflage.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Yeah,
Something
so
like prototype stealths that
and
were
he got one of
stolen
them.
from him.
They said, "Oh, I was going to go back and get one for you." Why
But
didn't you
they've
just
got-
give it to me when I was in the lab with you earlier in the game? I don't
Yeah.
know. But
Just greedy. Plot
Yeah.
convenience, that's what it were.
then
Pretty much.
it's like, oh, the people are in their lift with you. These are the guys who've got the stealth suits.
Yep.
So then you got to try and like battle these invisible people.
On the small platform.
Yeah, this tiny little platform,
Which is annoying.
which is darker. You can't really see what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you get to the bottom, and then you come across your second fight with Sniper Wolf, don't you?
Yeah, you come back outside and I don't know
The
if you go.
snow
Do you go straight in the fight? I think you do. No,
Or
you
shoot
get
you.
blocked initially, don't you? Just shoot you.
She shoots you first,
Mm.
and then you just run and kneel in the middle of the field, which makes no sense whatsoever because she's still got a crosshairs trained on you. So
That's
that's,
it. Yeah.
that's still not a smart move to do, Snake. But all right, let's suit yourself.
I've been shot. Let me just go closer to you.
So then you obviously got to have another sniper pal, but because you're out in the cold, it affects your aiming a lot more. So this is where you have to have
That's
the
it. Yeah.
you have to have the diazepam. So
Yeah,
the drug that steadies your aim. That's quite a good fight. Quite like that. So you knock her off, and then but this is the thing that Otacon's in love with her, isn't he?
yeah. He's fallen in love with her.
So he was like very reluctant for you to have this battle. He just wanted to like stop it, both of you.
Avoid it. Yeah.
But it was always going to happen, wasn't it? Come on. What are you thinking, Otacon?
Was it also just? I don't know if it's just a little bit before the fight. But there's the whole part with like the wolves, and you have to like
Yes.
get through, and it's difficult because the wolves are like absolute savages. Like they'll kill you pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I think I think it's you meet back up with Archon at some point.
Yeah. And he
gives you a handkerchief with Sniper Wolf's smell
scent
on it,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
scent or perfume or something. And this light obviously catches the nose of the wolves if you've got it out, and they stop attacking you.
Yeah.
So that's
In
how
fact,
you
they
get through.
start
and then
loving you because they actually start showing like
Yeah,
hearts above them.
little
start
hearts
following
and stuff. Yeah, unless you punch one, and then that's it.
you. Yeah. All bets are off there.
Oh, game over now. Don't care if you got the center
Not
out. you're dead to
surprised.
me.
So
Yes, I think you make your way through them, and then I think that's when the whole sniper fight starts. Then.
Yeah.
Is it? I think so.
but then obviously at the end of that battle, Otacon starts whining, crying and all that.
Yeah.
She dies. And then
Should have been giving that suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you get for not
Yeah,
giving me the
but
camouflage earlier. Cool.
and then you go off to have another boss fight. It's like they're coming thick and fast, these boss fights. So you meet Vulcan Raven again
In
in the freezer.
the freezer, yeah.
So it's like a
He's
large.
completely shirtless, massive large man with a massive, large.
I thought this was
minigun.
quite a scary fight. I found. I don't know why. I think it's because he had such a massive field of view.
Yeah, he's got a massive field.
Because basically it's like a grid thing, isn't it? So it's just like.
Yeah, you're fighting in between like tanks of like.
Well, it's like
containers,
containers, that kind of thing.
That's it. Yeah. And he's just got this massive minigun to shoot you down with.
Oh yeah, youch.
Oh, it hurts if you get hit. Absolutely hurts.
And then the more you damage him, he suddenly starts speeding up and proper legging it around it. That's quite scary. So you have to take him out with your Nikita missiles by trying to get around his back.
Yeah, you got to fire these missiles around him. But then,
and then he tells you something very interesting about the DARPA chief.
Yeah. He ain't no DARPA chief.
No, he ain't no DARPA chief. He's a guy called Decoy Octopus. A master of disguise.
Yep.
Da, da, da. And then he mentioned something called Fox Die.
Fox Die. What could that be?
Have I missed a bit? Oh yeah, so you go on and then you go into the blast furnace.
Oh,
Hold
on. You need to put in disc 2.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Disc 2. That's when you get to the blast furnace.
Well, actually, no. Is the blast furnace before the thingy fight, the Raven fight?
It might be actually because so at some point, because I actually thought after the Sniper Wolf fight, that's when you get to blast furnace. That's where disc 2 comes in, because that's where you enter in. And I think so. At some point, you go through the blast furnace. I think is this when you get to? At some point, you get to the hangar of
Metal Gear.
And you get a key that changes.
A memory shape alloy key.
Yeah. And it changes shape depending on what temperature it's in.
This was really quite intuitive.
Yeah. I think that's the whole point. Was that the whole point of the fight for Vulcan? Because you have to get it cold.
Well, you have to go back there, yes.
That's it, yeah. So you go back there after he's died.
So basically, there's this Metal Gear has got this. If you don't know the codes, there's one procedure you can do to stop it or activate it. So
yeah, stop it from activating.
So it's got like 3 terminals in the control room, and it uses this one key card. So for one of them, the card has to be hot. The one of the card has to be cold. The other, it's room temperature. Yep. So when you first get there, you just whack it in because it's room temperature.
Yeah, it's alright.
And then you have to go back to where you fought Vulcan Raven to get the card cold. So you've got to wait. So you've got to stand around in there for about a minute, and then
it takes a while for it.
Yeah, opening the menus to see the colour of the card change or not. So you're just waiting for it to turn blue. Yeah. Then you got to run back and be quick about it before it changes back to room temperature. And then you've got to run back and then get back to the blast furnace. I have to say, I loved the music in the blast furnace. That was really good. But that's another thing. And then, so you leg it back with the hot card. You put it in, and you've not deactivated Metal Gear. You've only going to bloody activate it out, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you still
one had already deactivated.
You've been played.
You've been played, son.
Because it turns out they couldn't get the codes, so you've ended up accident. So you've been played all along.
All liquid.
Oh, we've not even mentioned Master Miller, have we?
Oh yeah.
So this guy, so he's an old mate of Snake who's been helping you on the codec.
He's an old master or something like that, isn't he?
Yeah, I think Snake used to I don't know, in a previous mission I think he was with him, so.
Yeah, it was something like that, and like he's meant to be from Alaska or something, Miller.
Yes.
I think that was the whole thing. But is he Master Miller or is he someone else?
Yes. He's only Liquid Snake.
It's like twist after twist, this game.
Yeah. But then you find out who the ninja is as well, don't you?
Yes, because Liquid activates Rex. Do you
So the guy's name's Frank Yeager.
I think you start. Do you start fighting Rex first, and then Frank comes in and helps, or is it? Because at some point, I think he helps be able to destroy the shield dome.
Yeah,
isn't it?
He just come into it, I think. You find out who he is
think-
first because you talk to Naomi about it, and basically it turns out that Naomi, they're brothers. They're brothers. Brothers and sisters. Well, sort
That's
of.
another twist.
Well, sort of. They're not by
Adopted brother and sister, sort of.
Yeah. It turns out basically Naomi wants revenge on Snake because he ended up killing him back in the Outer Heaven. Was it Outer Heaven? Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah. So a little history. I think Frank Yeager.
Yeah.
Was helping Solid Snake in the main mission for Outer Haven, which was Metal Gear 2 on Nintendo and PSX, I think. But it turns out in there, Frank turns on you and was actually working for Big Boss in that game. And you end up finding Frank, I think he's the one. Does he pilot the Metal Gear? I don't think he does he?
I can't remember.
He pilots something and you end up killing him, basically. So Naomi wants revenge, basically, because you've killed Frank.
Yeah. But so you start having this Metal Gear Rex battle. So you've got to shoot the Ray Dome. That's what
you need to take out its Ray Dome so it can't track you, basically, with its weapons system.
Yeah, and then Fox shows up and he starts helping you out.
Yeah. He like stops you from getting stomped, and then he starts doing his ninja stuff. And
I have to say, because he dies in this. And I have to say, the manner of his death in this game is one of the most brutal I think I've ever seen in any game whatsoever.
It's brutal and it's pretty tragic because it's like he eventually gets up on like a metal platform.
Well, no, this is what. So he gets his arm cut off with a laser first.
Yeah, as he's doing a ninja flip.
Yeah. And then as you mentioned, so he jumps into this wall thing, didn't he?
Yeah, and then he gets
he just gets
pulverized
impaled
into the
wall.
He
just gets impaled
by Rex's I suppose beak. Don't know what else to call it. Nose.
And then as he's doing that, he manages to shoot the Ray Dome though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he starts firing with his futuristic P.
But then he just so he takes unimpales him, for lack of a better term, and he falls on the floor, and then he just stomps on him, just splatters him.
Yeah, it's
just what?
Poor guy.
Yeah, some death.
I hope at this point, if they ever remake this game, please don't make this graphic, because this would be one of the most brutal kills I've ever seen in video games.
I want to see it.
You want to see it, of course.
Yeah. And then you learn here that basically Solid. This is where Solid and Liquid came from. So they were clones of.
Yeah, you start learning about was it the
L'Enfant Terrible project?
Yeah.
So basically, it was a plan to try and make the perfect super soldier. And Liquid's a bit uppity about it because he says that Solid Snake got all the progressive genes. All the good genes, and he got all the negative ones.
And this is from the Big Boss character. Like his DNA was used for this project.
Yeah.
I think didn't they make something like I think it was 13 babies in total and only like 2 survived.
Yeah, I think they intentionally killed the other two. The other.
Yeah, they intentionally killed the other 11.
Yeah.
And only 2 survived, which was Solid and Liquid.
Yeah, but all the soldiers have got some gene thing, haven't they? Because they call it.
Yeah, they've got some like genome. Yeah, the super solid genome. They've got something in them that essentially eliminates the emotion side of it. So like
Yeah.
when they feel pain, they don't actually feel it, or they don't get like the fear or stuff. They just continue to like hooked up on adrenaline, basically.
Yeah. So then you have the fist fight with Liquid on top of the thing.
Well, yeah. So, after Frank dies, you continue the Rex fight,
Oh,
but
of course.
Liquid, like his cockpit comes out, so like
Yes.
he's now vulnerable, so you can shoot him and stuff. Once you've done that enough times, I think he basically crashes into like the side of the hangar of Metal Gear, but that I think also starts causing like an explosion or something, and that sort of somehow knocks out Solid as well somewhere.
Yeah, he just flies him against the wall.
Yeah, I say an explosion is he
sparks
flies
him
against the wall. And then he wakes up on top of the crashed Rex, shirtless for some reason. Don't know.
Yeah. And
Suddenly shirtless. Liquid's a bit kinky.
yeah.
And yeah, you start having a
Come on, bro, show us them pecs.
yeah.
So
and
Meryl's there, like
Meryl's
tied
there,
up.
yeah, and then there's a timed
there's a
bomb
bomb.
there as well.
This bomb
5 minutes, I think, something like that. Or
That's
3
3 minutes. This bomb
3
really
minutes.
irritated me because it's like, oh, you've got 3 minutes for this fist fight, and yet 30 seconds of that is lost in a cutscene.
Yeah,
that
you
really
lose 30
annoys me.
seconds unless you can somehow like just skip it. I don't think you can you?
No, it'll just go instantly back to 2.5. But it's just like that really irritated me. It's
Yeah,
like
it's like you have
stole
3
30
minutes,
seconds
and I'm
from me.
going to talk through 30 seconds of it.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what?
So you're battering each other on top of this thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, the whole point is to basically knock each other off Rex because it's so tall.
It's very easy just to run off it.
It was never explained. How did Liquid manage to drag 2 lifeless bodies on top of a Rex that tall?
Super soldier.
Clearly.
Recessive genes, though. He should be a weak.
Yeah. He can't do the super jumps that he can in later series.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you win that battle, and then depending on how the torture went earlier, then this is where you learn Meryl's fate.
Yeah.
So if you successfully did the torture without submitting, then she's alive and well. If not, she's dead.
She dies.
Yeah.
Oh.
Either way, so then you escape via a very, very long tunnel.
A long tunnel on a bike with a side passenger. So yeah. So this was where.
No, it's a Jeep. It's definitely a Jeep. You're thinking of Metal Gear 3.
Oh no, yeah, could be, yeah, actually. Yeah.
But yeah,
it's
a Jeep.
Okay. Yeah, no, it is a Jeep, isn't it? Because
so if Meryl survives, you go with her.
She
if
drives
it's not,
it.
It's Otacon.
Yeah. So they'll drive. You're on the you're on the machine gun at the back of it. That's it, and you start firing it over. I think it's other Jeeps that chase up to you, but then eventually
there's guards standing around, and then there's other Jeeps chasing you.
Yeah.
And then you just can't keep a good man down, can you?
Nope.
And then Liquid Snake comes back.
Mr. Liquid comes back.
In his
screaming.
Own Jeep. So you start battering him with guns as well, and then you crash at the end of the tunnel. This massive tunnel, almost as big as that tower. And then it's like you're pinned under your car, aren't you? You're pinned under your Jeep.
Mm.
You're
Liquid's standing over you.
Yeah, Liquid's like
What's
slowly
going on in his monologue, villain speech?
Yeah, slowly comes out of his vehicle with his assault rifle, just about to pop you, and then, well, he mysteriously
has a heart attack.
Yeah, and collapses on the ground. Fox
convenient again.
Die.
Yeah.
It turns out Fox.
Yeah,
dies,
that's how he. That's pretty much his last word as he falls backwards.
Yeah. So basically, Fox Die is a virus that only affects certain individuals that it's been programmed to.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, it kills. Kills Liquid, and then you find out from Naomi that this Fox Die was secretly inserted into Snake before he went on his mission.
Yeah.
And it will. They say that it'll eventually kill him as well. I think.
Well, it's like, oh, how much time do I have left? Like she's be like very vague about it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's when you want to go, Snake. It's like that's not an answer.
Yeah, when you're ready to go is when it'll kill you.
Yeah. And then you just escape on a snowmobile, don't you? You have a wander.
Yep, that's it.
Escape on a snowmobile.
Yeah.
But this is also when you get a gift at the end.
Depending on who's been with you at this point.
Yeah. So if you're with Meryl, if she survived, well, you survived the torture. She finds a bandana on the snowmobile, and if you have another,
especially looks like yours.
Yeah, and then if you play through the game again, you'll have this bandana, and it gives you infinite armor.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But
you can play through it again.
The more interesting, what you really should do is submit to the torture.
The better one. Yeah.
Yes, the better one.
Let Meryl die.
Let her die, and then you get Otacon, and he'll give you the stealth camouflage.
At last.
I mean, I could have done it much earlier. Otacon, but I'll take it now. So if you play through the game again, you can have the stealth camouflage, and that was so much fun.
So you can basically walk through most of the game.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that it didn't affect is boss battles. You had to do the boss battles.
Yeah, it'd be a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, but every soldier is like you could just easily like go and mess about with them. It's so much
go
fun.
around, slap them across side of head and be like,
what
was that?
Just walk on like a puddle of water and then just run off somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like, they're just running in circles.
Yeah. Just bump in. I think if they bump into you, you do alert. Yeah. I think your camouflage comes off at that point.
Yeah. You get revealed if you bump into.
So you have to then actually properly hide like normal until the alert goes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it fully goes or if it goes into evasion.
Caution or something.
Yeah, caution. And then you can put the stealth back on. But I really liked the infinite ammo, really. I thought that was kind of fun. Just
stealth,
firing indicators all over.
Did you ever find the camera?
I did. Where was it?
Because there's a really good thing in the game with the camera. I don't know if you ever saw it. But so once you get this camera, you can like take pictures, obviously. But you wouldn't be able to see them. You wouldn't be able to view them in game. You'd only see them from like the main menu. But if there's certain places where you take a photograph, ghosts would be in the photograph, and it would be the developers.
The developers, wouldn't it?
Yeah. There's something like 24 of them. And I remember like not knowing about this, and then they just opened one up on menu. It just scared the living crap out of me. Some of them were really spooky. I think the one was just
I think
it was a woman like that, but her head was a cat, like a cat's face. Just that really weird. Anyway, in conclusion, I have to say, what a artistic and technical achievement I thought this game was. I just thought it was astonishing on every level.
I loved how like all the villains had some sort of like symbolism and had something like sympathetic to them as well. They weren't just like typical kind of villains.
I'm evil.
Yeah, like Vulcan Raven was an interesting one because like towards the end when you beat him, he just like I don't know if it's like if it's meant to be like a real flock of ravens. I think they were, weren't they? They just start coming in, and just start pecking him, just start eating him to death while he's on this like monologue about his life and stuff. It's like, mate, you're getting killed.
My sentence.
Yeah. But it was all about like how his spirit would carry on through ravens, and that actually, he does make some sort of like a spiritual reappearance in like the next game. Sort of.
So just every character just have like an animal in the name.
Well, they were. I mean, other than
Sniper Wolf, Psycho Mantis, Vulcan Raven,
Volva Ocelot,
Snaker.
Snakes.
Was it both snakes? Yeah, we've got Ocelot.
Decoy Octopus.
Yeah, Decoy Octopus.
The only one I
Psycho
suppose
Mantis.
is Otacon. I don't think he was.
Carl Emmerich.
Otacon is based on some sort of like anime, isn't it?
Yeah, he said that, and I switched off for that.
Yeah, that's the time I was like, "What's no?"
Well, I'm talking mainly about the villains, really, who had the. I think that's it. Grey Fox. What was the name of the
Grey
cyber
Fox?
ninja?
Yeah. The cyber ninja, Grey Fox. Yeah, I think everyone had some sort of animal. Well, there's always been some sort of theme to the villains in each Metal Gear game, hasn't there? Other than probably 5, I don't think it was dropped at that point. But you had like Metal Gear Solid 2 was something like some sort of vengeance or like revenge kind of theme. No, one was like Fortune.
Yeah, there's one called Fortune. Yeah,
Fortune.
Fat Man. Fat
Man
was great.
Fat. Who's the vampire one?
It's just called Vamp, innit?
Vamp. Yeah. Well, I think I'm sure there was some sort of theme to it. I think there were, and like obviously 3 was about like emotions or something like that. So you had, like the sorrow, the fear, the end,
the boss. Well,
the boss.
the old precursor with the. We'll say that.
Yeah, we'll say the theme was the.
But back to the original game. It just changed completely my belief in what games could be.
Oh yeah, I think this was the first real instance that like games could be something more outside of its medium.
And for something that what's the word I'm looking for? Ambitious on a PS1 was just ridiculous. I don't even know how they managed it. But
2 discs, that's how they did it.
Yep, 2 discs, that's how they managed it.
I guess that's it. But one thing I've got to mention though, just to finish from my point of view, is the cardboard box.
Oh,
I didn't get a cardboard box.
Greatest piece of
But
equipment in gaming.
Yeah. I mean, you would never think to look under a cardboard box, would you?
Nope.
But there was a cool thing where there were certain trucks around the game that if you put the cardboard box on and hid in the truck, it would take you back to a certain place.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
So it was I suppose the helipad. That was one location.
Yeah.
The nuclear
the
weapons facility. That was another location. I think there was a third location, but that one's kind of going by me, I think.
Was it the snowfield? I can't remember. I might be wrong. But
could be something like that.
That was nice. That was good. Like an earlier form of fast travel.
Fast travel, yeah.
But
no, it's really good because, like, I think the very first truck that you go in, that's where you find the Soakum.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Soakum pistol, yeah.
But yeah, I've got that just all the time in the world for Metal Gear Solid. I just think it's an incredible game. Remake it in a new engine. What's it called?
Well, they almost did for Metal Gear Solid 4, didn't they? Sneak peek, almost.
Yeah.
That was good as well.
That bit in Metal Gear Solid 4 was really well done. That was really well done.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point in the future.
Yeah.
But that's for another time.
Right. You calling it there?
I just think it feels really strange that for a game that's so well loved, that if it was to come out on its original console that it was developed for, you might not have played it. Do we know what console? The Panasonic 3DO. It was going to come out on.
Wow.
Originally. But then they decided to go with the PlayStation because the 3DO flopped. So.
Wouldn't surprise me.
And the rest is history, as they say.
That's it. There we are.
Did you guys ever play probably not. It's probably not named for you, Nathan. But did you ever play the VR missions?
Yeah, I really liked the music on that.
They were really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they were fun. Absolutely.
And that's basically that. I just repeat it over and over again.
It's all right.
It was nice. But there's a game recently called Volume, which was basically like the sneaker missions from that.
Oh yeah. Does it have the same music?
No, unfortunately, no. But it's the same sort of thing. It's like sort of like a VR stealth hiding thing called Volume. It's good. It's good. If you like that. Right, well, there you have it. Metal Gear Solid takes its rightful place into the Video Game Hall of Fame. So if you enjoyed listening to us, please consider tuning in next time. We release bi-weekly on Tuesdays. You can visit our website at jokingdolphin.com, where we post blogs and the Hall of Fame. Also, feel free to follow us on all social media platforms to continue the conversation. You can find Joking Dolphin on Facebook, as well on Instagram and Twitter at Joking Dolphin. And we're also on YouTube, where we post this podcast. Until next time, thanks for listening. Snake!
Goodbye.
See you guys.